still be hosted on the site and stuff like that. It would just be its own feed, so they're not like, oh, new episode, and then it's like, you know, the Gamescast or something. Because I don't know, there's issues with that sometimes, but when it's only like one or two things, it's not a big deal.
I'm just getting the stream link.
The streamies.
Mm-hmm. Episode 40, guys.
10 away from the big 5-0.
I feel old.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Page.
I have 2 alcoholic drinks today.
Nice. I drank half an energy drink, so I shouldn't have a.
Only half.
Well, when I get the crash, I can drink the other half.
Oh, there you go. Pace yourself. Good man. You got the strategy down.
Fucking season pass download already. Yeah, I went ahead and bought the season pass for $20.
You're so weak.
For what?
For waifu warriors? Is this what
For
you're
waifu.
talking about right now?
Yeah, I bought. Yeah, because it's more expensive if I was to buy it individually, and unlike the last Hyrule Warriors, I actually want to keep up with it. So I figured, fuck it, why not? At least this way I get it. And
I really like the DLC for Hyrule Warriors. It's just it took too long to come out.
Yeah, well, I think the plan is for Fire Emblem is like 1 in December, and then 1 in like January. There's like 3 DLC packs in this season pass. I think one's supposed to come out. Something comes out November, December, and the last one comes out in March. So I'll have DLC for $20. I can't argue against that.
So
yeah,
$20 for all 3 DLC
for all
packs?
3 packs. Yeah, you can buy them individually if you want, but like if you price it out, you might as well just buy the season pass if you want it. Like you don't have to. It's all extra stuff. You know,
Right.
Most Warrior games offer plenty of single stuff to do before that. So it's like, if you want more, here's more. And I figured, fuck it. I may never do it, but it's $20. I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming Warriors type games haven't changed too much since I played them back in the day. So I mean,
I just played the intro level. I just played the intro level, and it's pretty much, this is a Warriors game, but it has anime titties in it, so I'm all good.
These
now we're
spin-off
getting
ones
to,
kind of bring
the
in
source of Ben's addiction for this.
These spin-off ones kind of bring in some like unique things from their respective series.
Yeah,
like I guess this one has like some very limited like RTS type stuff in it.
You can. They actually. I haven't tested it yet, but they actually ask you at the beginning of the game, do you want to play in casual or classic mode? Which, if you never played a Fire Emblem game, basically that means is in the older games, if a party unit dies or a main character dies, they're gone. They can never come back. And that is somehow in this game. And I'm wondering, how is that? Because it said they will eventually return. So it's not like permadeath, but they'll go away. So I'm like, I want to
like
see
the team leaders. Like they leave for like a mission or something and then are back for the next one.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. I can't. So far I like it. They there's automatically free DLC. You can change the languages to Japanese, which I'm gonna do.
Is everyone recording?
Hold on.
Recording now.
Yep.
I am now.
All right, cool.
Hold on. What the hell? Hold on. Sorry, for some reason Audacity was not reading my mic, and that was weird.
Is it now?
I'm restarting it right now. And testing 1, 2, 3. Yes, we're good to go, Captain.
What are we waiting on?
Hello, darkness, my friend.
I don't know.
It's like go and then
I don't know. I was waiting for someone else to say something about something.
you start the show though.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chart Shot Gamescast. Each and every week, best friends gather around, talk about the news in gaming. This week I've got Justin. He's double fisting those alcoholic drinks, everybody.
I have some hot chocolate with peppermint schnapps and some almond milk with Irish cream while wearing a Guinness shirt. So I am ready for Ireland.
Damn straight. One hot, one cold, I guess.
It is a little weird, yeah. I didn't really think about that at first.
We've also got Lo. Do you got any kind of alcoholic drinks for us?
No, I just have coffee and water. I'm boring.
Yeah. You can put some Irish cream in that coffee, which wasn't as good as I expected it to be, actually.
Yeah, I prefer just regular creamer myself.
Yeah, that's like the thing, though. I thought like that people get Irish cream to use as coffee creamer.
They just want to get drunk in the middle of the day.
I guess.
And we also have the self-proclaimed marvelous one, Ben. Are you drinking anything?
Drink Dr. Pepper. That's it.
It's got
Ben
20.
doesn't drink.
Is that like 28 flavors?
It's got 23 calories of depression because that's how I feel after I drink one.
23 calories isn't bad.
Yeah, that's actually not terrible.
For a soda.
No, but when you drink a lot of them, it's like, oh, this is existence.
I think a can of Coke has like 180, right?
Yeah, it's a lot, and you can feel it. Every time I drink a Coke, I'm like, yep, that's a Coke can. You're not fooling me.
Yeah. all those like artificial coloring, like it just settles in your stomach, and it's like, ooh.
I remember I actually won $100. I won $100 like I was like 12 years old because like this grocery store was like doing a giveaway or something. Like guess the drink because they think I can't. They think you're not gonna be able to tell. Like is this Pepsi or is this Coke? It's one of those things. Oh. So I tried it. And I went, that's Coke. Are you sure? That's Coke. It's Coke. And he goes, young man's right. Here's your $100 gift card. I'm like, fuck yeah.
I think.
And then you bought a bunch of Coke with it?
No, I didn't actually.
What? I think a lot of people can actually tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi.
Oh yeah, there's like distinct fan bases for both.
Yeah.
Pepsi being wrong.
It's
no. I mean, I haven't drank soda in like 2 years, but still, no.
Coke is better.
I prefer Coke for mixing drinks. Like it's better for mixing like rum and Coke, and well, it's what your name, right? Pepsi's better for just a plain drink.
Nah. If you like a bad aftertaste in your mouth.
That's because Coke is only good if you dilute it with something else, and you basically forget like what you're drinking.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, there's alcohol in this. I don't taste the miserableness that is Coke.
Yeah,
I just taste alcohol.
And you don't taste the burning effects of alcohol.
Right.
Yeah. I've got
Whereas like Pepsi,
drink.
you don't want to taint the deliciousness that is Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
Pepsi Pure. Yeah, I've got a Monster. I got these really cool. I've probably shown these off before, but like Monster Rehabs. They've got.
You mean something that's been around for like 5 years?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is a new thing for me. It's got tea, pink lemonade, and energy.
Ooh.
I have never drank an energy drink, and I'm proud to say that.
Coffee doesn't do it for me as much anymore. I keep drinking. Like I have to drink like 4 or 6 cups of coffee in order for me to feel it. So
I do my 14 ounces in the morning, and then I'm usually good. Sometimes I'll get some in the afternoon if it's a long day. But
I just splash water in my face. It's like, okay, let's go.
slap, 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 slap.
I do the Honda slaps in my face.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So video games, guys. Who's been playing them this week?
I beat Nier Automata.
You beat the first ending of Nier Automata.
I got an ending. I got an ending that literally made me like think. Like I had to go walk outside and think about the ending for like 10 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck did I just like? And then Thomas and like another friend of mine are just like, okay, now play again.
Yeah,
keep going. Just keep going. And I did, and surprisingly, you can tell. Like I was, because like I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, it's probably like New Game Plus or some bullshit like that.
I told you it wasn't. Like I told you, just start it up. It's not New Game Plus. It's like a different chapter, kind of.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I don't want to spoil it because of if you haven't played it, but it definitely is a second campaign. Which I wasn't expecting, although I can't be 2B's booty anymore, and that makes me sad. But like I don't know how, because the game's not really long. It's not. Like you can beat it in about 10 hours, which seems long, but like over a course of a couple of days, you can beat that. Like not doing any side quests, you can do that. Even with side quests,
without the side questing,
yeah. And side questing doesn't really take you this long in this game, but it definitely. Like, my summarization of that first session of Nier Automata was definitely like. It definitely belongs, since we're going to start doing it, I think, in a couple of weeks, like in terms of games of the year, without revealing my full hand, obviously, it's definitely up there in terms of, like, what the fuck, in terms of such a good video game, and it makes me think. But I'm going to try to play through, get as much of the endings as I can before the year is out, so I can have a full critical analysis on this game, you know, and then wonder why my existence is even being when we're just emotionless dots on a spectrum full of noise. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm kind of just rambling.
This is going to be a hard game of the year deliberation.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with a way to do it, because a lot of us, like, I know for a fact Lo hasn't played a lot of the games that we've played.
Yeah, I haven't played much outside of Switch stuff because games are expensive.
So we might end up just doing our own favorites. We might not have like a site list. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure that out when we get there.
I mean, we could have like a group top 5 probably. Like at least 2 people like agree on one. Like a lot of the Switch games, we can all 3 of us can agree on at least.
Yeah,
things like that. But because I'm personally I can't think of really more than like a top 5 maybe of games that came out this year for me.
5 is usually a good number to run it. I never do more than 5 because then I go, well, this and that, it gets all tedious.
Yeah.
But I guess also Final Fantasy V. Only one thing I have to say about that: fuck enemies who can do level 5 death within the first 6 hours of the game. That's such horse shit. Like seriously, I get new jobs, I go to my new destination. And like, oh, cute. The enemies are like, in books, and you have to defeat. They're like little pages, and they're named page numbers. Oh, that's cute. Then you meet this blue-headed fuck. Okay, you seem simple. Level 5 death, and I'm dead. I'm like, well.
To be fair, level 5 death is the easiest one to avoid because it only hits every 5 leveled characters. So like, you can get to the point where I think it's like level 2 death or something, and like every second. I don't remember how it works exactly.
It's one-shotting me. I'm dying every time that freaking thing casts it.
Well, no, because it has to do with like what character level you are. So like with level 5 death, it's every alternate of 5. It's like level 5 characters, level 10 characters, level 15 characters. They're all going to get hit. Whereas like if it's level 4, level 3, something like that, it's going to hit like multiples of 3 or 4.
It's kill instant.
So like 5 is actually the earliest one you run into.
Oh, is it? Okay, because it's instant killing me and it's pissing me off.
I just say death spells in all games is bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, why?
But I'm just saying it's the least likely one to hit.
Yeah.
Okay. It hits me every time. It's hitting me every
level
time.
Up your characters. Don't be a multiple of 5.
No, fuck that. I'm playing. I refuse to grind.
Get good, scrub.
Yeah, exactly. I'm learning my jobs. Anyways, Final Fantasy V is a game where you don't really grind your levels. The jobs are more important. And the only thing I really played important that I want to actually say anything to was it was a game I bought at Retropalooza. It's called Muramasa, the Demon Blade. You probably know it better because it got a remake on the PlayStation Dead Vita. That was a horrible, horrible joke.
Did you say Dead Vita?
Dead Vita, yeah. And I bought it for like $10, $15. Yeah. I bought it for like $10 or something, right? And it's pretty fun. It's basically the Dark Souls of side scrolling. That's tongue in cheek. No, you basically play 2 different characters. You can choose a female ninja or a boy ninja. I chose a female because I always like playing as the women first. And you basically, it's kind of Metroidvania-esque, but it's not really. You're not really exploring anything. You're kind of going from point A to point B. And instead of like, you'll have random encounters for certain sections of the map where you'll have combat sections. And this is where the game flourishes in combat. You basically get blades that you can either gain by boss fights, or you can forge your own blades, and each blade has their own unique ability and own unique aspect. And the combat for just pressing A, right, like going like down A, up A, It's so much fun. It's simple, but it's so much fun. Like you can juggle, you can change your blades and do a special move, and then it's something I won't play for like more than 2 hours because it gets really repetitive, like a Warriors game. But it's really fun, and the art style, because obviously the Wii wasn't exactly the powerhouse that a lot of people wish it was. It has a very unique art style to it, to where like I feel like, you know, if this came out now, this probably would have been considered an indie game because it has that unique look to it. And it's all it's pretty voice acted, all in Japanese, so that's a definite plus for me. But yeah, if you see this, either I don't know how the Vita version is, but if you ever see this, like you go to GameStop and you see all the Wii games that you constantly have, and you see Muramasa the Demon Blade for like a couple bucks, buy it. No motion controls. It's just literally using the remote and the nunchuck to move. Oh, there's no blocking. You got to parry. You have to get good. And if you parry too much, your sword can break. So yeah, it's fun. It's definitely. I had a better experience playing it than when I played Mad World, because Mad World, like I said, Mad World gave me a headache. Whereas this one, I'm like, I want to keep playing. Oh, but I got to go to work at 5 a.m. Oh, I can't do that anymore. But that's all I've been really playing. Yeah, fuck level 5 death.
Justin.
Not too much of note. I had a friend that came up on Sunday, and so we did some multiplayer stuff that I haven't really gotten to do too much. He got Shovel Knight, like the full edition of Shovel Knight on Switch. So we were checking that out for a little bit because we've never done the co-op on it before. And that's super fun. Like, it's really hard. They actually, like, all the bosses have double health. And so, like, you're trying to run around, dodge everything, and, like, technically you have shared health. Like, you both have, you know, your full health, and, like, any health pickups you get, like, heal both of you, things like that. But if one of you dies, like, to come back, you kind of have the Smash Bros thing of, like, you have to hit a button to come back, and you steal, like, half of the other person's life that they have remaining. So it's really tricky if one person dies, and, like, sometimes it's better just to leave one person in a boss, or else you'll just kind of, like, you know, you'll just immediately die again because you'll take both life bars. And so there's one point where, like, he was just doing this double-powered boss on his own because I was like, I'm just gonna kill you. Like, it's not gonna work out. I'm not doing well. Just take care of it for me. So there's some really tricky parts, but it's also a lot of fun to do co-op, because some of the platforming stuff where it's like, you know, you might have to like, I think it's Spectre Knight stage, where you have to, like, hit the little bush thing to make it go halfway up, and then, like, shovel down in the bush to do, like, a jump up onto a high platform. You can actually just bounce on your co-op partner instead. So you can just cheese a lot of the platforming sections. And, like, if there's when you go to the next room, like, both of you go. So there would be points where, like, one of us would be on, like, near the door, and the other would go all the way across to get open a treasure chest. And then it's like, okay, leave. And so it, like, automatically gets the person out of the room, you know, without having to traverse back across all the stuff after getting the treasure chest. So there's some cheap moments, but the bosses definitely make up for the difference in difficulty. And it's also just a lot of fun to play that together, because it's like a gender swapped version, I guess. So all of the knights are, like, the opposite gender. And I think Shield Knight is a man. And then, like, the first player, Shovel Knight, I think, is a woman, and the second player, Shovel Knight, is the man. So it's like, basically it's in gender swapped mode, but the second player is, like, you know, quote unquote normal Shovel Knight as far as, like, this regular single player game goes as we know it. So yeah, that was really cool. And we played a few other GameCube games that I've been playing for the video. We got a bit of multiplayer footage for some of that stuff. Just kind of have some dynamic footage for the video. And because I thought, you know, he'd enjoy the Blast of the Past just like I did. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. And then I played a little bit more Hat in Time. I showed it to him because he didn't have it yet, and was kind of curious about what it is. So I saw a few more levels just, like, from his perspective, and it's still a really good game. I found out apparently the train world I was talking about is actually the third world. I apparently skipped the second world, which is the one that me and Ben showed off in beta, where you get the hook shot. So that was just my mistake. But yeah, second world is still the one that we had in the beta, and is probably why I'm struggling a little bit, because I don't have all the items I actually need to do the third world. But I'm trying to get through it anyway. But bit more SteamWorld Dig. That's still cool. I'm struggling with it a little bit. There was actually one section that's really cool. I don't want to spoil it too much because I don't know how far Thomas is. But you basically go into this section that kind of reminded me of like Torian from Super Metroid. Because like you go down there and like you're kind of warned in advance that there's no map or anything. Like you basically are going in blind. Because of like electrical interference in that area or something, like cutting off your little companion guy that gives you your map. And so you're going through this whole area, like not really knowing where you're going, but it's pretty linear. And there's like a bunch of these little wisps that attack you and explode, or go inside different like electrical equipment. And in some cases, it's like they'll explode whatever they're in, and like you'll get health pickups and things like that. But in others, they go into these big like unkillable mech type things, kind of like the Metroids in Metroid. I don't know why I didn't clarify that. And so like you basically have to like find some place to hide, because they're like 2 or 3 tiles tall. So if you can like hide behind something, like crouch under something and like get behind a wall that they can't get to, they can't attack you. But it's this kind of this big open area with like just a bunch of like bricks you can break through. And you have to like kind of crawl around them and not trigger the little guys that are floating around. And if you do, they go into the robot and break through all the stuff that's got them closed in and chase you all over the place. And they're super powerful, and it's real scary. Like that was a straight up like horror game moment of that game. Kind of like anyone that's played Axiom Verge. There's kind of a similar section in that when you're like kind of overtaken by like a mental virus, and the area you're in gets really trippy and you're not really sure what's going on. It kind of reminded me of that too. But yeah, that was super cool. And I actually thought it was going to be the end of the game, and I was like, this is surprisingly short. But it wasn't at all. It's like maybe the halfway point. So everything after that has been really hard, actually, because it kind of opens it up a lot more. And it's like there's 3 places you can go to total, and you can do them in whatever order you want. And it's basically going back to other areas you've been to and using your new equipment and stuff to kind of get through to new areas of those places. So it's like really hard enemies and a lot trickier areas to traverse through, and like acid pits and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm having a bit of a hard time with that game now, but it's still really fun. And then last weekend, I think it was, there was a Volition sale. I think it was Volition, or Deep Silver maybe. And Saints Row 4 was like $3, and I just happened to have that amount in my Steam wallet, so I picked that up finally, because I've been talking about it, like maybe doing some like online co-op stuff with Lo before. And Thomas, I don't know how many people can do co-op online actually. But yeah, I didn't do too much with that. I just created my character and kind of got through some of the intro stuff so that I can see like what the actual, how the open world works, because I loved Saints Row 3, but I wasn't quite sure. I've heard some kind of mixed things about Saints Row 4. I wasn't sure how I would like this like super powered like digital world type thing. And it's fine. Like all the customization stuff is still there. I really enjoy it. It's an old game. I probably don't need to talk about it too much, but
it's more Crackdown than Saints Row, really, right?
Yeah, it kind of seems like that. I don't have superpowers yet or anything, but it definitely seems like a different genre of game, just with the same like open world style. But I made my cool lady character. I always do lady characters in these games because they're just more fun to play around with. Like as far as finding their clothes and changing up their hair and things like that. Like you can do a lot more with them, I think. If I made a guy, I'd just make it look like me, and that's boring. I can change my own clothes. So
I got 4 black shirts that I wear every day. So that's my
exactly. This is actually a new shirt, so I figured I'd switch it up for once.
Nice.
But yeah, I got my first car and took that in to customize, and so I'm just I'm learning the ropes of like what all the different customization options are and stuff. But I'll get into the actual game later, and maybe me and Lo will put out some videos or something from it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't had a lot of time to do stuff and prep in like 3 weeks.
Yep. Lo, you been playing anything?
The usual Fortnite. I'll do my obligatory daily couple of missions and whatnot. It's still there. It's still a game. Other than that, let's see. Oh, actually, earlier this week, one of my friends, he had an extra key for Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Nice.
And I had Ground Zeroes already, so I was kind of like, I'd played a little bit of it, and I was like, oh, cool, Ground Zeroes neat. And then he's like, oh, I have this Phantom Pain key. Do you want it? I'm like, yes, yes, please. So then that got me back into Ground Zeroes, and then like just the other night, I spent like an hour just roaming around the map, just looking for things. And oh, can I crawl under this? Cool, I can crawl under that. Oh, can I crawl under this? Oh, cool, I can crawl under that.
Did you play more of Phantom Pain?
I haven't actually played any of it yet because I heard that you can unlock stuff for Phantom Pain by playing more like. So I've just been doing a couple of run-throughs of like that mission, but I haven't installed and everything like that. So I'll probably get into some of that tonight because I'm just really excited to play it just because there's so much more to do from the sounds of it. So
yeah, Phantom Pain was one of my favorite games from last year. It was so freaking good. Just like there was so many different weird things that you could do, especially.
Did that game only come out last year?
Yeah, that was like last year.
I feel like it's been out for like 5 years now. For
the whole thing with Konami like went down last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Another cool thing about that game, it looks great. It looks like
weird.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been playing some of that. Well, I've been playing Ground Zeroes. I'm gonna crack into Phantom Pain tonight. I'll probably just invest the rest.
Man, you don't know what you're in store for. There's D-Dog, there's Quiet. D-Dog's the best. He was one of my favorite companions.
I tell you, man. I can tell it's a Metal Gear Solid game because it just like I'll just like start it and then next thing I know it's like hours later and I've like done the same thing like over and over again. It's just
the story was pretty weak in it, but overall it was like a great game experience.
I kind of stopped trying to follow the story after 2. I'm like,
oh, dude. If you ever want to spend like 5 days with me alone and I talk to you about Metal Gear,
Metal Gear lore with Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I'm not as insane, but I super love Metal Gear lore. I love that universe's lore. It's cool.
So anime and campy and like James Bondy at times, and it gets in weird places.
Yeah. But Kojima gets it. He's got that stuff straight.
Like I'm like really interested in the Metal Gear Solid lore and all that stuff. I just like don't ever like pretend to have any understanding of him. Like, oh yeah, cool, that guy. Yeah, I remember him. But yeah, cool game. So I'm gonna play some more of that. And then Justin had mentioned Saints Row 4, so I was like, oh yeah, I have that too. So then I started playing some of that. It's just yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you'll like it. It'll just it's just funny because after playing Saints Row 4 for a while, I was like, I kind of want to play this without the powers now. But in order to do that, like you have to use a cheat, and then it flags your save as like a cheat game, so that's stupid. So then I'm just like, I'll just play Saints Row 3, and that was just pretty much.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as polished as 3 already. Like, I don't have the powers or anything yet, and I'm sure that just breaks the game. But even now, it's like in the virtual world where like everything's pretty normal except some like weird glitches and stuff. Yeah. It still doesn't feel polished.
It's almost like they kind of like made it intentionally janky.
Jank.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag jank. It's a ton of fun though. So
what I remember the most from 4 is that you collect the orbs like all over the city on the rooftops, and you just have the ability to basically jump and fly like Crackdown. Like it gave people Crackdown when there's no Crackdown. There's no crack for people to play.
Yeah, I mean,
it had some weird like super jump power or something in 3. I remember, or maybe I just had a plane. I might have just had like a helicopter that I could just like bring to me at any moment. Because I just remember I spent a lot of time on rooftops. But I think I might have just gotten into a helicopter, like gone up high, and then like
Hmm.
parachuted out onto rooftops and grabbed stuff like secrets off of the roofs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember. I thought I had some kind of super jump or something.
I thought there was a DLC for 3 that gave you superpowers for like a mission or two, and then that was it.
This would have just been like normal, like running around.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but
I don't know.
yeah, both games are cool though. It's just just like I said, like whenever I want to play 4 without superpowers, I just play 3. Fun game. Let's see, what have I been playing other than that? That's actually pretty much it. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, cool. I've been I played all of Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. You can hear more of my thoughts on that over at Left.
All of it?
Yes, all of it.
Dang.
I played it in a
It
weekend.
must have been a long podcast.
No, we only spent like an hour going through it.
Okay.
You can find that more at Left Behind Game Club. Left Behind Game.club is their website. Yeah, so if you want to hear my thoughts, you can go there. Other than that, I've been playing, I tried out WWE 2K18. I spent an hour and a half playing. Spent an hour and a half making my character, 30 minutes playing it, and then a minute refunding it.
That sounds about right.
Oh man,
Yeah,
best review ever.
Yeah. That's a Metacritic blurb right there.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I liked these games a lot more than I do, because I do like enjoy some of the aspects. Like the creation aspect is really great. You can create the level of detail you can get down to, like customizing your character, like the entrances, the move sets. You can spend so much time on that, but actually playing the game is a mess. Like I started out the My Career mode, and this is probably the worst My Career mode, I think, which is kind of hard. It seems like these games keep outdoing themselves at how bad they get every year. This one, you have to like walk around backstage, talk to people, and get into a match, and then leave the parking lot and come back. Walking around the backstage is a mess. Like it's a plod. There's a run trigger, but if you use that, it might break your game. It might not break your game. You don't know. The camera might get wonky. It's weird. There's a new like grapple system, like you can hold people and just carry them around and stuff. But I don't know. I didn't spend too much time doing that. I did it a little bit, and it seems like they keep adding these like really small incremental changes that don't make the game any better. I had the game crash on me once. Is this such a buggy mess? You can check out all the GIFs online to see like what's going on with this game. It's not fun.
Yeah.
They have dialogue, or not dialogue, but they have written out cutscenes where there's no actual audio dialogue at all, so you just have to read through it.
Really?
The wrestlers that you could talk to in the backstage, they have like a sentence or two, and just basically just tell you to piss off. Like I figure if you have you write one sentence for a wrestler in the backstage that you talk to, at least you could get them in, or you could Skype them, like just give them a microphone, let it record it, and then like put it in the game. I don't know, like I wish there was something for me to enjoy with that, but there isn't. The promo ability is a little bit better. This one, it's like you pick a theme that you're going with in the first sentence, and then basically just be consistent throughout, and you can get a better promo. The actual wrestling is still the same from the last game. These last few games are just basically the same thing, but just worse quality over the years. And I don't think 2K is going to try and improve it, or Ukes. Like, I would hold off buying any WWE games forever until they change up what's happening.
Forever. Wow.
Yeah. So
you liked the last one though, didn't you?
Yeah. So the thing I like about these games is like the single player aspect of like you actually feel like you're progressing. You're like getting more and more like points to put into your character, level up, get different skills and abilities, but they've locked the progression behind loot crates.
Oh no!
So
thanks.
you gain this in-game currency that you get less of than you did last year for putting on 5-star matches, and you have to buy a loot crate to unlock like a new skill set or a new like trunks or whatever. There's like a bunch of stuff that's locked behind.
You gotta pay your dues, Thomas.
Loot crates.
You gotta pay your dues.
I would rather just pay for that with my VC points, my virtual currency points. It's just such bullshit. So,
Everyone knows that in the WWE, at the end of every week, instead of getting a paycheck, they just give you 3 boxes and make you choose between one of them. It's very realistic.
That'd be a funny skit, actually. Just for like a workplace. Okay, so instead of money, we're going to give you these three boxes. One of them has money in it, but then the other 2 have a really, really shitty prize.
Here's some new trunks. You can try to sell that for merch.
Oh, you got the cosmetic award. Good job. Nice.
And
but I can't pay my bills. Have fun.
But about next week.
Oh, man.
What were you going to say, Justin?
That was what I just said.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you.
The little bit was what I just said.
No, I thought you were going to say something else. I thought you were saying something else. What else is there in this thing? Okay, so like I went online. I went to check like there's like ads on Facebook that for this game. So I read the ads, and there's like half the people are like, "Yeah, this game is junk. Don't buy it," and the other half is like, "Oh my god, this game's amazing. It's the best thing ever." I'm like, "Have you played a video game ever in your life?"
Some people are very simple. It's fine.
No, it's
true.
not fine. I
It's
want a
true.
better
I mean-
WWE game.
It's fine. It's fair. It's okay. It's okay.
There you go.
Fine.
He said the thing.
Yeah, you did. So yeah, I refunded that, and I finally spent a lot more time with Fire Pro Wrestling. Like I bought that when it initially came out, but I didn't spend a lot of time with it.
Mm-hmm.
But 'tis the season to play wrestling games.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Fire Pro Wrestling, that's kind of that one goes back a ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know the whole history. This is the first wrestling
I think
game
it was on
from them.
Super Nintendo at some point. I think
So. I think you're right. So, as crude as it looks, it plays really great because the whole aspect of that game is just the timing mechanic and building yourself up to a better move set. So you can't just come out of the gate and like do a choke slam or do a Styles Clash on somebody. You have to like build your way up, kind of like a real wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's a squash match. So yeah, it's basically just timing the button presses to when you're about to grapple. There's different types of matches in there. There's like a landmine match. So if someone gets thrown out of the ring, they get blown up with a landmine.
Oh, whoa.
It's pretty good.
cool.
There's like barbed wire instead of ropes. So you could throw someone into the
Ooh.
barbed wire and then they'll explode because there's explosives on there. The grappling system in the WWE games have been like just pull the right trigger at the right moment, but but sometimes it feels like it's not connecting right. Like it'll flash up the RT, and then you press it and it's like too late or too soon. It feels like you have to like pre-fire before you hit it. But in this one, it's kind of just automatic depending on what kind of move happens, or like what's happening throughout the match. So if you try to go for a big move early on, it'll automatically like reverse that. But then there's also moments where you're being grappled from behind. You can like do a back elbow and hit the guy in the face and get out. I downloaded a bunch of different characters. Like there's whole rosters of like New Japan Pro Wrestling, WCW, WWE characters. Like it's all different types of creative characters that are out there that people have made and put like effort into. You can change up the AI styles so like they'll act like how they actually do in real life. Like it's great. The only knock I have against it is there's no real single player progression, which I like in the WWE games. So yeah, wrestling folks, sorry, but it's basically what I've been playing.
I'm not doing another wrestling thumbnail. Just gonna put that out there right
The one
now.
you made this week last week was great. I loved it. It was so simple, just elbow dropping a loot crate.
The only thing I did was find that picture and put a loot crate on the face. And you were so proud of me. I've worked for like literally over an hour on some really creative thumbnails, and you were proud of friggin' this one that took 5 minutes. I hate you.
I was simple, man.
The next one that's wrestling related should just have Justin with his arms folded and just saying, "I won't do it."
With like a blurry wrestling picture behind it.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. I guess that's enough about wrestling. Let's head on into some news.
Newsy news tune, a newsy news tune.
So yeah,
you gotta like get a sound clip of something for that for the next few weeks, and I'm not gonna be here.
I got a sound clip I can play.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So yeah, Kurt Angle is going to be replacing Roman Reigns in this week's pay-per-view.
That's not news.
That's real. That is news.
Save it for your friggin' wrestling show. Move on.
Nice. Just jumped right on into that, didn't you?
All right.
Glad I'm gonna be in Chicago next weekend.
Okay. The UK government is investigating the loot boxes craze going on. So essentially, what happens here is that the UK government has a law in place where they have to investigate any petition that gets over 10,000 names attached. This petition's up at petition.parliament.uk, so if you want to go bomb them with petitions, go right ahead. But this is kind of just like update to last week's news about our loot box talk.
Loot bait sounds better. I like that. Can we,
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they are.
they're loot baiting.
Wow, nice.
That should be the new term for it.
Yeah, it should. It really should.
Yeah, that's all I got for that one there.
No, it
I just find
should
this
be.
interesting because like a lot of people have been talking about this stuff lately, and I think companies are going to have to be a lot more reactive about how they deal with this, because there's always seems to be like these phases. You know, like PUBG came out. What was it earlier? Well, came out in early access earlier this year, and within a few months, a lot of we haven't talked about it in a while. A lot of companies were starting to say like, oh yeah, we see that it's a very popular game mode, and we're going to find, we're not going to force it into anything, but we're going to find ways to kind of have that type of mode available in our games, because clearly there's a market for it, and we want to give people what they want. And it's the same thing with these loot boxes. Like they were a big thing in Overwatch. They were very successful in a paid game. Like free to play is a little different. They've been around for a long time, especially like in mobile games and things like that. But this was a game you pay for that also has loot crates that, as far as I know, you have to pay for.
No, you can get them with every level up.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I've never.
But you can also buy loot crates by the bucket load
If you're a crazy person, yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta get that diva skin, man.
So like, they saw that was really successful in a game like Overwatch, and they're like, okay, we can do that too, because people want, the loot, the cosmetics, the things like that. And like we mentioned before, if it's just like optional things like cosmetics, hats, things like that, it's fine. But now that it's getting into these games where like it's actually progress related stuff, or like actual things that have stats that could affect multiplayer and things like that, which I think we'll talk about soon too. That's when it gets to be an issue and needs to be looked at. So I think that the companies are going to have to realize, okay, we've taken this too far, and they've been kind of towing that line of like pleasing fans, because they're like we said, this is a business. This is clearly there's a market for this, or else it wouldn't work.
Right.
Like they wouldn't continue doing it if people weren't buying them. But when you push it too far, it's going to just make people mad. So you have to toe that line between like, this is what people want, and okay, now we're taking advantage of people. So it needs to be something that's under kind of regular scrutiny to keep within that line of what people are okay with. And unfortunately, this is only in the UK, and it's really only because of a technicality that they have to do it. But it's a start. it's something that's going to get eyes on this issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the petition talks about the China law about having the percentages of what you can get.
Yeah.
So you're probably gonna see a lot more of this kind of stuff happening soon within other countries. It's just the snowball effect, like once you got one guy going, you get the next one going.
Right. What I'm curious about is, as far as you guys are talking about percentages, like, I feel like that's where things will kind of run into a challenge, because it's like, how do you regulate that? It's like, oh, you got to make sure you guys got your so-and-so percent. Oh yeah, we got it. Cool. It's like, I don't know. It's like they gotta, I don't know, but it's like Justin was saying, just the fact that they're looking into this. And I think that's a pretty cool, thing. It's like, oh, this thing has over 10,000 this petition has over 10,000 signatures. We should probably look into this, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty cool thing. We should have that in the States. Shoot.
We do technically, but it's a board that looks at it. I don't think it's 10,000. I think it's higher. But it's a board that looks at it, and it's kind of just like they have to, so they don't really ever do anything about it.
So it's like a fine sort of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a step in the right direction. So hopefully this leads to more of a kind of standardized sort of like regulation for this kind of thing, because it can very much be a problem, especially for people out there who have kind of not really addictive personalities, but people who can like fall into something like really easily, and kind of like people who are really susceptible to that what is it? Kind of the loot bait. They're susceptible to loot bait and that kind of endorphin rush and stuff like that. So yeah, so we gotta, hopefully this thing will result in something positive.
Will you make a thumbnail for loot bait?
You know what it should be? It should be that scene from Jaws where he's chucking out the bait, except he's throwing out loot boxes.
See, I was thinking a totally different thing, and I was thinking the scene from American Pie where he's going in at the pie, but replacing the pie with a loot box.
Oh,
that wins.
A loot box with a little hole in it.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
You don't see the hole.
Dick in the box.
That's wrong on so many levels.
Yeah. I know, but it's great. But no, anyway. I think the bigger thing that is going to happen here is clearly there's been a shift in like the monetization of games. Because I mean, we've talked before about how like, DLC and stuff is getting a lot more pushy, and that, there's the standard version of the game for $60, or there's like the heavily promoted like special edition, or season pass included or whatever, for like between 80 and 100. And a lot of times that's like the real price of the game, quote unquote. That's like what they're really expecting for the whole content. So if you just want to pay the 60, fine. You're getting the base game, no problem. You can always buy the DLC later when you want. Or you can just upfront buy the whole thing for a little bit cheaper. And that's like what they're actually kind of calling the price of the game. I remember recently, like when the SNES Mini came out, I was remembering how like a lot of those old games were like $80 to $90 for the cartridges, just because it was more expensive back then to produce cartridges. But now everything is digital or disc or whatever. But games are also way more expensive to produce, so you'd think they'd be getting back up into that $80 or $90 range again.
Yeah, there's more people making the games too. There's a lot more people on teams. Yeah.
But there's also less games being made because they have like a 3 or 4 year production cycle instead of maybe a 1 to 2 year for a lot of the sprite games that were using the same engine for multiple. Yeah, look at like Mario 1 through 3. Like those are all pretty much the same engine. Things like that. And so sometimes like during a console generation, you might get a studio that makes 1 or 2 games during the entire generation. So you can't really reuse an engine as well unless you want to run into a situation like Assassin's Creed where a game just feels dated by its 3rd or 4th game. And then people are complaining like, this is the same game, but with, in a different setting. It's like, you got to do something to switch it up, and that's way more expensive. So by doing this kind of games as service type thing, you're kind of spreading out the life cycle of that game, because you have something like GTA 5, which is a fully featured, single player campaign that's hours long and was millions and millions of dollars to make because of the, the voice actors and the motion capture and just how big the world is and everything. but that game is still on the sales charts because of GTA Online. So you have your base game, but then you also have a strong, thriving online landscape that you can monetize separately to keep the game going, well into its it's about 5 years now that it's been out. And granted, it's had, multiple versions, like the original PS3 and then now the PS4 version, and they put it on PC. There's rumors it might be going to Switch if whatever else does well, the LA Noire. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's had a life because of that. But GTA Online is kind of the monetary part of it that's doing well. And so I think this is going to be just kind of another shift with, figuring out that kind of push and pull of, how loot boxes work and using them to supplement that $60 price point. Because a lot of people, like me, for example, are just going to buy the game for $60 and probably call it a day. Yeah. Sometimes I get the season pass, but usually by the time that comes out, I've forgotten. So I've kind of stopped now, and I'll just wait. And if I really want it, I'll either get it later or I'll wait on the game entirely, like with Horizon, and just wait for the inevitable Game of the Year edition that comes out with everything for $50, $60. And there's always going to be those people, but the dedicated ones are going to put their money into it. They don't care about these issues with loot boxes. They're the ones putting all the money into them. So I think it's just kind of a mindset change that needs to happen. But also, they need to figure out the proper way to implement these loot boxes. Because they need to make more money. Obviously, a lot of it is just lining the pockets of the billionaires that are funding these projects. But also, if they weren't billionaires, they wouldn't be funding these projects. So we kind of have to accept that, they're just wanting to line their pockets with more money and trying to find a way to gouge their customers. Because without them, we don't get games. You don't see the guy making $100,000 a year, it's like a minor game company exec, funding these projects single-handedly. It's like you said a few weeks ago, Thomas, with the sweary thing. He needs to find some millionaire that's willing to fund his project without any guarantee of money back. Those are the people that are at the top saying, hey, maybe push the loot boxes more. They make good money. I've seen them on the profit sheets.
Yeah.
So it's not going to go away. But they need this kind of hindsight here to look into how to improve it.
Yeah, you hear from devs all the time saying that the cost of games aren't what they really are. They're a lot more expensive than just $60 American. Mm-hmm. It costs me almost $90 with taxes Canadian. So raising the price of a base game is going to drive off a certain customer base.
Exactly. And they can't do that at this point. Yeah. You raise the price of games and people will riot. But
or they'll buy less games.
They raise the price of games. Right, exactly. They'll sell worse.
Yeah.
But you get these times where you still have the base game at $60, but half of the content sometimes is locked away behind season pass. But people don't think about that because it's optional. Mindset of the person of the companies that are changing, and that we're not going to raise the price of games. We're just going to, add more value to the DLC stuff.
Yeah.
We'll buy that, and they'll still be getting an $80 to $90 game. They just won't really think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
these loot boxes are the same way.
And I can speak to personal experience of this, with Street Fighter V. That game launched at $60, and then over the course of almost this coming January, 3 years of it being out, it's released several sets of costumes for characters will cost you about $6 a pop, stages will cost you about $3 a pop, music soundtracks, really? So it's it's a necessary evil to have DLC, because to me with Street Fighter V, I don't own everything in that game. I have bought a couple of stages, most of the stages, because I gotta have those stages, and those are kind of overpriced. They're $4.99, and I don't own all the characters. I don't feel the need to own all the characters because I'm not gonna play them. So to me, I'm okay with I've probably put at least the $60 down plus an extra 40. Minimum 40, because I haven't actually looked at how much everything was into Street Fighter V. but I don't feel the need to own everything about that, like, because there's too much shit in there. So to me, it is optional. But unfortunately, a lot of games are making games not named Nintendo are making you that and making some aspect of the gameplay make you go, well, let me just drop $5 in a loot box and I'll get something.
Yeah. Like if it in street, we talked last week about how it was so much better in the era of just like buying exactly the things you want off the store. Expensive per item, but at least you know exactly what you're getting. What if, like in Street Fighter V, for example, buying the character you want boxes, but like
That'd
all
be
of
worse.
the character downloads, like all of the characters and stages and stuff were randomly in these loot boxes. For example, the crypt system in Mortal Kombat, in-game currency, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But like you're putting your in-game coins into these random tombstones. And sometimes you'll get a character, sometimes you'll get concept art. Those were early loot boxes. You just couldn't pay for them.
Yeah.
You just had to play the game a lot to unlock everything. But that's that idea of like locking behind key content behind a paywall that's totally random. That's the risk we face if this keeps getting worse. And that's why we need these kind of,
regulations
to make sure that doesn't get to that point where like a new Street Fighter game is totally loot box based instead of like progression, unlocking characters or just buying them directly off the store or whatever the case.
I'll quit playing Street Fighter if I ever see that shit.
Yeah, and that's why they need to keep it in check.
In a way, I've already. By the way, I've uninstalled Marvel Infinite. But if Marvel Infinite went to the
that was a short honeymoon.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, what did I say last episode?
Yeah.
If Marvel Infinite had done the loot box system, people would have rioted. And in a way, Marvel Infinite sort of like they just released a whole new DLC pack of like, here's $30 and here's what you're gonna get and more to come. That actually feels more sincere. Like to pay an extra $30 to get all those costumes and future costumes coming down the line than say, here's $30, good luck getting what you want. Versus at least with Infinite and Street Fighter V, you know what you're getting and you have the choice of buying it or not.
Yeah.
It's just
some people could probably spend like $20 then and get exactly what they were wanting if they get, good luck of the draw from loot boxes. But many more people would probably pay like 60 to 70 to get the same amount of content because they'd get all the garbage first.
Exactly.
That's where it's not fair.
I know. I'm surprised Capcom hasn't done it, but I'm glad they haven't. I'm glad they haven't. Oddly enough, considering they were like the evil spawn of DLC for like 4 years, and yet yet they feel like the most like, hey, we're just gonna here it is, no loot boxes, no shenanigans. We're struggling. We're really struggling.
Please buy our stuff.
Speaking of companies struggling, Visceral Games.
That's your segue?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to move on to the other microtransaction thing, but that's fine.
Yeah, there's a couple news stories that didn't write into the document because I just didn't have time. So, Visceral Games, yeah. It was announced, I think, like yesterday or a couple days ago that Visceral Games has been shuttered by EA. They said the Star Wars game in development is going to be revamped and moved to a different studio. Says it will now be something completely different from what it was originally. It says here our Visceral.
But still based on the assets of that game.
I guess so. I don't know exactly.
It was an update. It says Steve Anthony will lead the new team at EA Vancouver. And we will use much of the work that has already been done to date by Visceral. The assets of Ragtag, which is the code name for the game,
okay,
that have already been built will be the foundation of this new game.
All right. So Amy Hennig is gone, I guess, since it's someone else is heading it. They say that the new incarnation of the Star Wars game is going to involve games as a service. elements.
Hey, it doesn't. Hey, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is.
It's EA. It's EA, man. I want to be positive.
I was trying to be optimistic, but like halfway through that sentence, I was like, "Wait."
It's literally the evil empire of video games. You're one of them.
Well, okay. I always try to like kind of be the unbiased like devil's advocate here whenever possible.
Please do.
And this isn't necessarily all bad. Like, it sucks anytime a studio closes. But when was Visceral's last good game?
I still maintain Dead Space 3.
Dead Space 3 is not as bad as people make it out to seem.
No, they're just idiots who just like the bandwagon. That's all that was.
All right, that sounds like a lot of defensiveness.
It's a good co-op horror shooter. You can have your friend that fucks.
No, it's the fact that I say, when was their last good game? And you're like, Dead Space 3 wasn't as bad as everyone said.
It's not. It is not.
It's not, though.
It's not. It's legitimately not bad. People thought it killed the franchise. It didn't.
It did something new with the horror.
I'm not sure that answers my question, though.
No. I legitimately love Dead Space 3.
I think it did some really cool things with the co-op aspect, especially when one character is like legit freaking out and seeing different stuff from the first player character.
Yeah,
that was the best part.
So when you're playing
so cool
co-op, like someone's freaking out, it's like, did you just see that shit? Like there's like a dead child just standing right there. Like, no, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
favorite part, and I wish me and my friend were streaming when we did this. There's a section you go. I can't remember the circumstances, but I played the second player who's a Marine character, and you basically are hallucinating your. I can't remember if it was a child's birthday, and on your screen you're seeing, like a birthday basically, and you're like, again, like what Thomas was saying. Dude, are you seeing this? Like right over here, and I'm walking to. He sees me, like I'm pointing up and down with the gun. There's a freaking nutcracker right here. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? There's nothing there. I'm looking at it. I'm gonna take a picture of my phone. I was like, dude, I don't see anything. I'm like, it. Okay, I'm sorry. I ruined the story. It sucks. It's horrible that because like they were legitimately good games, right? They were one of the few games that pushed survival horror. Because let's be real, Visceral was mostly known for Dead Space. I know they did a couple of other things, but that's what they were known for.
Well, like Dead Space is the thing that made them an actual studio before they were just like EA Redmond. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
But it's
right, so this wasn't my second point, but I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Because now it's my second point. 2, it wouldn't be the first time that a series has continued under a new developer label. So it's not like Dead Space is dead or anything. Like they can continue it with EA Vancouver or whoever. You know, a lot of the people from Visceral that like were worthwhile, it says they're shifting as much of the team as they can to other areas where they're needed. So a lot of this team could still be continuing on to this new version of the game and what, you know, could be a new Dead Space game in the future. Just because Visceral is gone doesn't mean any of their properties are dead.
Yeah, it's
so
probably
don't worry
a
about that.
logistical thing.
Yeah. And then third point now, since that was my second point, it sounds like this game wasn't progressing very well. I mean, think about it. Like, this is a studio that already had kind of a hit or miss track record. And they're being tasked with this huge Star Wars property. And for one, I mean, let's be honest. Like, there are some amazing examples of story-based linear adventure games, but they don't necessarily sell as well as other options. So I could understand them wanting to pivot that to something more. I don't like the idea of like a heavy microtransaction based, like, you know, games of service type pivot. But I can see why they would want that pivot. It's EA, they'll probably screw it up, but I can understand that idea. But it sounds like the game wasn't coming very well. It had been announced like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'd seen maybe like one thing from it since then.
Did we see anything?
There was like some concept art and I think like a cinematic trailer. This was scale bound all over again.
Yeah.
And the fact that we knew nothing about it means we can't really speculate about how, oh no, EA is going to ruin this. Like, for all we know, it could have been garbage and they're trying to fix it.
True.
And by doing it as a games as service, now they can actually make some more money off of it rather than just like risking everything on a single player adventure game that they just get the $60 for, which we already mentioned is not profitable anymore. And because of all the years of, you know, work they've put into it with a huge team on a, you know, risky property, because how many actually good Star Wars games have there been over the years? They're trying to hedge their bets now. so that even if the game isn't super successful, at least they can have a very adamant group of people that will spend money on it over time.
Mm-hmm.
And fourth point, think of it this way: Star Wars Destiny.
Yeah, like that would be pretty cool.
You're
right.
Oh, okay.
Destiny is basically Star Wars already, but with the Star Wars branding and that type of gameplay, that could be a really good game. It's basically what EA is already doing with Anthem, but without the Iron Man suits and maybe some more lightsabers. Who knows? So, like, I just think we need to be more open-minded and not just immediately like, oh no, a studio is closing. This sounds like really bad. Sometimes these pivots are good for something.
Yeah, it's just sad news to hear like when a studio closes. That's all. And
yeah,
people there like there has been layoffs. Like not all of them are going to stay on,
which sucks. That sucks a lot.
It's just sad news, right?
But alternatively, look at something like BioWare. Like the name BioWare still holds a lot of weight with people, but like that team is not BioWare anymore.
True.
So like that's why Mass Effect Andromeda was kind of bad, because most of the people that worked on the other Mass Effect games aren't at BioWare anymore. So now the team actually making Mass Effect that made Mass Effect Andromeda was just basically trying to mimic what BioWare did when they're not really that team anymore. Same with Rare. You wouldn't see this Rare making a new Banjo-Kazooie game, because none of them are from when the Banjo-Kazooie games came out. Yeah. They're all working on Yooka-Laylee now. So like sometimes the name of an actual development team doesn't mean anything. And I think people hold too tightly to the studio name rather than who's actually working on the game.
Yep. I agree with that sentiment. Yeah. Like the people that work on the thing is more important than the name of the company that does the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, devil's advocate complete.
There we go. Does anyone have anything to say? Last wishes? Anything?
Hope the game's good.
Okay. Well, all right.
Give me
Dead
Space.
There is another Star Wars game coming. There's still that one that I don't remember who's working on it. But there's one that was announced like a long time ago, like before this one, I think.
Before the aiming
heading? One we haven't really heard
the aiming heading was the one that everyone was waiting for.
No, I don't remember. If I look up like Star Wars game, all I'm gonna find is this one.
Yeah, it's gonna dominate the SERPs.
But I want to say it's like it was the the Star Wars 1313 game or whatever, like the
that was canceled. That was canceled because they had all the rights went to EA for the making Star Wars games.
Yeah, but it was like what replaced that?
That I think this was that.
Are you sure?
I think that was I'm pretty sure. Justin's looking it up right now, so I'm pretty sure it was.
I think it's like Star Wars games in development.
Because they made 1313. It looked like it was going to be like an Uncharted, right? So that's why it went to Amy Hennig and Visceral.
This is Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is still going. Battlefront, of course. Visceral's project. Respawn. That's the ones making a game.
Oh yeah, Respawn's making one. But that's not 1313.
Yeah. No, but I thought it was the game that like was taking place of 1313. Like when that was canceled, they announced this. I thought, but I might be wrong. Because it says Respawn Entertainment announced its own action adventure Star Wars project in on May the 14th or May the 4th. Sorry, 2016.
May the 4th.
And there hasn't been any more information about it since then. But it's also been like a year.
Hopefully that Titanfall money is good because those are fairly decent games.
I'd like to see another Republic Commando. That game was pretty fun.
Yeah, there was some.
I want another the Jedi one.
Jedi
Power Battles?
Jedi Academy?
No, that was good too, but no.
Academy?
Yeah, Academy. Dark Knight.
There's a series of them. You're right. But
Jedi Knight.
Maybe. It was like the one where it's like a first person and you have a lightsaber.
Dark Forces, Jedi Knight.
Star Wars Connect 2.0?
No. Never. But it was a series. I think they were mostly PC games.
Yeah. This is I'm saying this is what that is. This is Dark Forces.
Is that okay? That just didn't sound familiar.
Just Google it.
I think it's the Jedi Knight series, I'm pretty sure, because that's where you were playing as Kyle, what was his last name?
Katarn.
Kyle Oren?
There you go.
I was joking. It's
I
Kylo Ren.
know.
No,
Orin was the first name that came to my mind too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been an SNL skit where he was being Matt. You look like Kylo Ren. No, I'm Matt. I'm in. What was he in? Like utilities or something?
Yeah, he was a janitor.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Keeping on with this news for the state of video gaming in. Fuck, my fucking brain is broken.
You missed a good transition.
Speaking of the state of video games and the fuck, what's the word for it?
Games of service.
Games of service comes to you a patent for microtransactions in matchmaking.
Specifically, like, well, I guess that it's like catered microtransactions, basically. I don't remember the wording they use, but.
So I pulled here a quote described as a system and method that drives microtransactions in multiplayer video games. The patent outlines a system which players are matched together in such a way that encourages the purchase of in-game content. So, for example, matching good players or players that have bought superior weapons later on in the game are matched with people that have lower tier status weapons. So that kind of encourages the person who's getting destroyed all the time to purchase ahead of where their progression is.
I hate video games.
Yeah. The most telling part, like, to be upfront about all of this, this is not something that is like actually being implemented into a game right now.
Yeah.
This is completely independent from any game studios that are working currently. It's just a patent for the technology behind it.
It could mean nothing. It could be nothing.
It's filed by Activision.
But
plenty of patents never actually go to do anything. But just because it's a news story, we're talking about the implications of it. The thing that worries me most about this is there's a little like kind of infographic about this. Yeah. And it basically has like the step-by-step of identify an item that may be relevant to the first player, basically you that are playing. And then identify a second player that possesses the item that is relevant to that first player. Then tune various matchmaking variables so that it matches the first and second players. And then match them into a game. After that matchmaking, like assuming, basically the first player sees how good that item is the second player is using and wants to get it, there's a variable here that says, asks whether or not the player purchases that item that the second player was using.
Mm-hmm.
And if it says yes, then it places that player into a gameplay session for which the item is effective. And if no, it updates the profile to indicate non-purchase, which basically means that it's no longer like, relevant to that player, and it'll seek another thing to matchmake. So the implications here, essentially, it's all technical jargon, of course, but the implications are that it kind of understands the way you play and figures out like what you would desire. So like if you usually use snipers, but you have a low-level sniper, it would find a player with a high-level sniper that's available to purchase in their store. And this, in this assumption already from the start, this is a game where like literally you purchase progress items, which is scary in itself. And then you play against the person that has the item that it thinks you would want, like a really nice sniper, like some kind of exotic weapon in Destiny or something. You play against that person. Obviously, he beats you easily because you're not evenly matched. You're matched according to like what is desirable to you. And then if after that match you go buy that item, it puts you into another gameplay session where it would be useful to you. So like, again, going back to the sniper example, it would be like a really like a heavily sniper focused match and like a, very specific map, and you would just dominate. And it's like, oh, this weapon was great. Like it validated my purchase so that you're more likely to buy these weapons in the future. So it specifically kind of mentions like pairing expert players that have, purchased a lot of things with like a new or like amateur player
That is such horseshit.
that hasn't necessarily been to the store yet. It basically turns like everyday players into like accidental influencers, if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
And that's awful. Like
Yeah.
even just from a games as service model, like I don't necessarily hate that. Like again, it's there for the people that want to use it. But if it turns online matchmaking into just advertising, that's scummy because it's not on purpose. Like those people can't control who they're paired with. And a lot of people complain about like, oh, this doesn't know how to pair people of equal skill. So I hate going online because I'm always killed immediately with these people that are way better than me and just get paired with me by accident. And that's exactly what the system is planning.
Yeah.
Again, this is patent, so there's no way.
Right.
We don't know if this
You
actually
can't say that enough. This is nothing bearing anything right now.
But that would, I guarantee you, for a huge chunk of casual players, that would turn them off. Because even though I love, and again, I'm going to reference Street Fighter 5 because that's the online game I play all the time. If I constantly, at my when I first started playing, matched up with gold or higher, I would have quit because they're most casual players do not have the patience or the time, and there's nothing wrong with this, to learn, to get better. You just want to drop in, have fun, and go out.
You just want to drop in and shoot a Hadouken and call it a day.
or play somebody you just go, because that's where you learn the most, and that's where you have fun the most, right? In reference to a shooter. I can't speak to shooters that don't really play online multiplayer. If you're constantly playing somebody better, and not just better, because like there's one thing, you want to play somebody who's a little bit better so you can learn more. But if you're playing somebody who's playing like you're in junior high school and you're playing somebody who's in the NBA, you're not going to learn anything. You're just going to get dominated, and that's not fun. There's almost no fun, and I think all of us can speak of experience of getting destroyed online by somebody who's superior when you have no idea what you're doing. And if this system, again, the whole pay to service, okay, I get it, whatever. You want to sell more DLC, that's fine. I don't like the idea of pairing new people with higher ranked, because that's not going to be fun.
Yeah, it's one way to destroy your community.
Exactly, you're gonna that huge Christmas wave that usually people expect, like from at least online multiplayer games. I guarantee you, if this happens, that goes away. That within a week, that whatever surge that is, how many people play, dies way quicker than it normally does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in
this case, it's not even just playing against people that are better than you. It's basically playing against people with stuff that you envy.
Yeah.
To specifically manipulate your mental state to be like I could be that good if I had that item that I want.
Right.
Versus where it should be just skill. Because I don't know how shooters work, because I don't play them a lot. Mm-hmm. But I would like to think a lot of good online multiplayer shooting games, FPSs, yeah, you can have a really good gun, but you still need to have the skill to use that effectively. So just because, like, again, to use the Street Fighter reference, Akuma's really good, right? I am shit at playing Akuma. or I usually say Rashid's my main, right? He's top tier. He's one of the top 2 best characters in the game. I am nowhere near as good as the high level. So just because you pick a certain gun, you pick a certain class, you pick a certain character, doesn't mean that person's automatically going to be good. So it's ultimately you're manipulating them into buying money they're thinking it's going to get them a win. Ultimately, more than likely not, because they don't have the skill to use it the way that other person was using it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kept trying to think of an example of like how this could be put into motion in a way that would just really piss people off. Like all I was thinking of is very obvious ones, like the Destiny example I made. Let's go back to something a little old. GoldenEye on N64. Picture that as like a modern like games as service game, but Odd Job is DLC.
Oh God.
So basically, you get put into a game against just a group of odd jobs, and you're running around trying to find like a pistol and stuff, and they're just immediately killing you with the hat. Like you can't even get a shot in because you can't find a weapon, and they're spawned in with a weapon. So you're like, ugh. if I had Oddjob, I'd be able to hold my own against them. So then, like, everyone starts buying Oddjob, and it's just the entire game is everyone throwing their hats around at each other as Oddjob. That's it. That's all you have left. Like, there's this one thing that everyone buys because it's like the game tells them it's what they want, and so that's the entire game is like, you know, it basically evens it all out unfairly because you're telling all these people buy this $20 Oddjob DLC.
Yeah.
And that's all the game is at that point.
Like it creates so many balancing issues. Like
yeah, exactly. That's where game balance comes.
That's probably
in,
why they haven't implemented it yet, because there's just so many hassles with it that just destroys the online community.
Yeah. I just don't see how this could be good for people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of one good like justification for this system. And I always try to play devil's advocate. So
yeah. I don't know. I don't think it would ever be implemented.
I hope not.
Unless they found a way to make it balanced, which I don't see they could.
I really doubt it, because I mean, I feel like even games that do have good balance have balance issues. So it's like balance is like one of those things that you constantly have to work on. And just with a system like this, if it is implemented, they can totally take advantage of something like that. Like, you can just take one gun, for example, and just reduce the recoil, so it has like no recoil, and like boom, it's automatic. Like, there it is. It's like that's automatically one of the best guns in the game now, and then everyone's gonna want it, and you know, it just so happens to be the most expensive thing in the freaking cash shop or whatever.
Yeah, it's just been so long since I played like a competitive online shooter. Last time it was like Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, same here.
The only thing I could think of that's like slightly okay, and I still don't like this example, so I hope Activision isn't listening, is like a racing game. Like, let's say, you know, there's car DLC, like body kits and things like that. And so, like, it's not necessarily performance-based, which in this example, it specifically is performance-based, so I'm kind of, like, manipulating it a little bit. But, like, maybe there's a body kit that, like, makes your, you know, Dodge Charger look like a Corvette or something. Like, stats are the same, but, like, it looks way cooler. And you're like, oh, man, like, I want that Corvette. And it's, like, the only way to get it is with this body kit over another car. And so, like, it gets you to buy that because you see someone else racing that way, and it just looks so cool. And, like, they might beat you and you have the exact same car, and it's just skill. Like, there's that perceived element of, like, you know, coolness there that makes you want to get that body kit.
Right.
But it would probably be used in a way to where, like, there's a, you know, a supercar that you can only buy, like, you can't get in the game, and so they do it that way. And that's still not fun. But, like, I'm just saying, like, all stats equal, if it was, like, a cosmetic thing that's put in, and it's just showing you that off, like, you know, in Smash Bros. Or something where you can play online and you have a character unlocked, but that person might not have the character. It's like you just, you know, you beat them like a no-hit match with Cloud or something, and they're like, man, I never really cared about the DLC, but I really want Cloud now. That's an okay example of that. But all I see is these examples where, like, you know, everything else being equal, they're just overpowered because of an actual powerful item they purchased in the shop, barring any balance issues. And then suddenly, like, you know, they're OP and you can't do anything except buy that thing to be at their level.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary.
You know, it'd be even scarier is if they were like, oh, well, you'd be good if you had this gun, but, you know, the only way to get this gun is to buy this specific loot crate over here.
That's next level thinking right there.
And there's a 20% drop chance for it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, going back to Ben's point, like how having in the Call of Duty games, you do have to progress to get better, or not better, but like further along items, like further along guns, like submachine guns and sniper rifles and whatever. But you could always stand your own using a lower tier weapon. Like, I would honestly sometimes prefer lower tier weapons just because I was way better with them. So yeah, I don't know. It's
skill.
M4A1. That was always my go-to.
Skill always triumphs over anything,
except for screen looking.
Yeah. Fuck you if you're a screen looker.
That was the only way I could play. I was like 9. I didn't know how to play the game. Just making a hard switch into some lighter news.
Switch news?
Switch news.
I can't. I can't do
Whoa.
the voice.
I get it.
The Switch has a new system update. This will allow players or Switch owners to transfer their saved games and user account data from one Switch to another. So, I guess if you send in your broken, what I've seen out there is that people are sending in their broken Switches to get fixed now because they can switch it over to a different console. Also coming in this update is the ability to capture 30 seconds of footage. This is going to happen for specific games. Right now, it's going to be Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, and Splatoon 2. So, Ben, you can share with everyone. You're not.
I would share with ARMS, but like nobody plays it anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're just putting it on like Twitter and stuff.
Oh,
there you go.
I haven't connected Twitter to my Switch. I should do that.
I have. Just for pictures.
Yes.
I know.
It will be included in like pretty much every game going forward. I guess
Yeah.
it's just something that like has to be switched on inside the game. And right now the only ones that like have allowed that are Nintendo first party games because they were probably like, alerted of this already. Whereas like future games will have to kind of prepare for it while they're making it.
Well, apparently, at least for video, I don't know if it fixed it now, but a Nintendo Wire website that did a thing where they tested all of them. Even though Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was one of them, it wouldn't let them do the recorded footage. Now that could be fixed by the time this comes out, but
I think it was like who was doing
That's interesting.
using the 30-second thing, and he sent it out to Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, this looks like compressed like crap," and I was just on my phone, and I was like,
yeah, it's pretty bad. The video
They're
quality.
working on it though. It's still very new. They said they're going to make the times longer and have a better like editing suite for it and stuff. But for right now, it's just kind of a fun little 30-second thing that you can get down even shorter.
For me
It's just for
personally,
showing
I don't
quick
even
highlights.
see the compression. Like I don't know.
It seems like a neat feature to me.
It's a start.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger deal is, I mean, that's awesome. Like personally, I think that's awesome, especially just for showing like quick, Zelda highlights. Like around the time when the DLC comes out, there'll probably be some cool stuff to do.
The PlayStation 4 is saying what's up right now.
My sick ARMS tech when I go to Evo Japan and win.
And there's going to be like Hella Mario videos when that comes out.
Oh yeah, man.
But I'll probably save it for you to upload after I get back from Chicago. Who knows?
For sure.
I'm going to be playing it on the train and stuff. But I think the bigger deal is for one, the saves, like the transferring, because it's not like normal cloud saving stuff. It's literally just for like transferring from one system to another.
Yeah.
But that probably means there's going to be like some special edition stuff coming, or like, whenever there is inevitably a Switch revision, like with the 3DS and then like the 3DS XL and the new 3DS, things like that.
Or the PS4, PS4 Pro.
Yeah. Like whenever there's something like that, you're going to be able to transfer. And that's going to be huge. It's not for like if you lose your Switch and like need to get your stuff back, like you have to be able to actually transfer from one system to another. So it's really more for transferring to a new system, or like, technically if you're at a friend's, you could transfer it that way, but I don't think you can actually transfer it back. So that would cause an issue. But like on the Kind of Funny used the example, like with Greg Miller got married, and then like he like had his wife like transfer her stuff over to theirs, and it was that was the whole thing. So like if there's combining of forces in some way, like that would work too. But anyway, I think the biggest thing was the wireless headphone connection. It was kind of like it was buried in the update a little bit, but they actually allow like wireless dongles connected through the USB-C.
Oh,
so it's not like directly Bluetooth or anything, but because the controllers already use Bluetooth, I think that would cause communication issues. But if you have a wireless dongle that does a USB-C connection, you can plug that directly into the Switch and then pair it to your headphones that way. Whereas before it wouldn't recognize that connection. So that's pretty big for a handheld thing that I don't believe has a headphone jack.
The Switch is a headphone jack.
Yeah.
Does it? I've never used it.
I use it every day on my bus ride to work.
Okay. Well, it's not as big of a deal, but I mean, wireless headphones are huge now, and so are dongles because of that, that iPhone life. And now the Google Pixel 2 also friggin' got rid of the headphone jack, so I'm not sure if I'm going to upgrade, but that's beside the point. But yeah, so it's just,
Hashtag jack it in.
Yeah. As the world is moving to that, jack it off light. Wait, that that no more jacks life. There we go. We got to figure out wireless solutions, and so it's good that the Switch is at least being kind of forward thinking about that.
You know, when you said no more Jax, I just pictured Jax from Mortal Kombat just looking all
I did
sad,
too.
like, oh.
I mean, he wasn't in the new Mortal Kombat. So.
Yes, he was.
I thought it was his daughter.
No, his daughter's in it, but he's also in it as well.
I haven't played that game in a long time. I don't remember.
Yeah. Don't talking to the fighting guy over here. I know my shit. I need to test out the wireless thing because I have a Sony. Because apparently it works with the Sony one. I don't know. I read it off some kind of baseline internet thing that could be wrong. But hey, if it takes any kind of USB-C, I just need to charge my headphones, and that'd be cool.
It seems like it does.
That would be cool to play Breath of the Wild in like surround sound. Because the Sony, I still like the Sony headphones. I just don't use it because like I like having background noise as much, even though I paid almost $100 for it. But I gotta test it out, especially for like when Mario Possession comes out next week. I know. I'll give an update next week because I don't know if anybody else has like because I mean you probably all have dongles. I mean we all have dongles, we're dudes. But like this is a Sony particular one, and I'd be interested if there's gonna be like any sort of restriction. So I'll test it out, and for the next like Gamescast. Actually, I won't be here for that shit. Okay. Well.
Oh no, I won't be here either.
It's gonna be me and Low. We're gonna get Low.
Nice.
Wait, Low, are you gonna be here?
Follow my Twitter.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
If not, I'll see if I can get a guest and do me and someone else. All right. Moving on to some more news. Sorry, I don't really have any great transitions this week. And I drank my.
I noticed.
Harmonix has also suffered some layoffs following the release of Drop Mix. Remember that? Drop Mix? Nope.
Is that a dubstep game?
Yeah, it's a
There's
dubstep
that card game, that card music game that we talked about a few weeks ago, or a few months ago.
Oh, that I remember that now. Yes.
So yeah, sucks that Harmonix is suffering. I think they laid off around 14 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so it seems like Drop Mix isn't really doing it for them. Just wanted to give a shout out to Harmonix. I don't know what their future holds as a music video game company.
Yeah, that was an interesting concept. By interesting, I mean strange and kind of weird.
It seemed kind of cool and interesting, but like I don't go into a Toys R Us. Toys R Us is closing. All right.
Harmonix is another one of those companies I have no studio attachment to. I like what they've done in the past, but they're a shell of their former selves, so I don't really.
Yeah, it's
this isn't big news.
It's just kind of sad. Like they had that whole boon going on with Rock Band, and then that this was a fad and it faded away. And now, I thought Harmonix was just gonna go with it, but they're still around doing stuff. It's probably gonna be like Mad Catz, still around doing stuff, but no one really pays attention.
Oh, Mad Catz.
Oh, my dogs are going crazy.
Your dogs are barking.
Yeah, my dogs are barking.
You said Mad Catz.
That is true. Speaking of cats, we have an electric cat here called Pikachu.
That's a mouse?
Yeah, he's a mouse.
Is it a mouse?
Check your privilege, sir.
It's an electric rodent, yeah.
I don't know.
Come on.
It's Pokemon.
He stores the lightning in his cheeks.
Disappointed in you.
Detective Pikachu movie news. They're making a Detective Pikachu based off the game, I believe.
Get a clue, Pikachu.
Yeah, this game came out in Japan. I don't know if it came out here or not, but they're making a movie based on it. And the front runners for, I guess, the voice of Pikachu.
This is my favorite story.
Is Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, Mark Wahlberg, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yes.
I can't low key. I kind of want Mark Wahlberg to be the voice of Pikachu.
Me too.
I kind of want Lo to be the voice of Pikachu.
Pika Pika, baby.
See, it's pretty great. Let's do it.
Uh,
But no, in all seriousness, I really wanted to be Mark Wahlberg because like I just think of like his stint of talking to animals. And like picture just like him as Pikachu, just kind of going around like, I gotta find a glue. Where am I gonna find a glue? Oh, I'm Pikachu.
Hey, Bones, what's going on?
Hey, Bird, how do you mother for me? It'd be perfect. And then suddenly Transformers show up, and it's weird, and yeah.
Hey, I'd watch a Pikachu fight Optimus Prime. I'd watch that.
I mean, it's an electric rat, like flinging electricity at metal robots. It's not much of a battle.
That electric rat electrocuted living rocks.
I know. I'm saying like it's attacking metal. Like Pikachu would win by a landslide. It's not even hard.
Well,
have you guys heard of the voice of Pikachu in that game where he actually talks?
Does he actually talk? He doesn't just say Pika Pika.
Yeah, he actually says like human words. And it sound to me. That's why I said in the Discord, if it's not Danny DeVito, then I don't care because it sounds like a Danny DeVito.
That's what the internet wants, and because I hate the internet, I don't ever want it to be Danny DeVito because I refuse. I want the internet to be forever.
It's a perfect fit for that voice.
Yeah, I don't want it to be Ryan Reynolds because it would be too Deadpool.
Yeah,
like he already has that voice, and I don't want to. Like, I don't want to.
You don't want Pikachu and Deadpool to be the same voice,
right? It's weird.
You know what? Just to keep reference this, I want to hear Pikachu say, "Can you smell what Pikachu's cooking?"
After he electrocutes someone and fries them to death.
It's Magikarp. It's Magikarp is cooking.
I want to see Pikachu do the people's eyebrow. Give me that.
Oh man.
Let's be real.
No, honestly, like The Rock would be a really good Pikachu voice just because it's so ridiculous, and that sounds like an internet thing that they would just like run with. But I think Mark Wahlberg would be the funniest voice for Pikachu.
Yeah. I would
love
pay
for Hugh Jackman here.
No, that's
only if he was as intense as he was as Wolverine. Only.
I don't know. It's just kind of a boring pick to me.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg for sure. I'd have to say.
Come on, Marky Mark. Do it. He probably doesn't even know what's Pokemon. How many Pokemon is he? Is it a monster? You talk to it? Say hi to your mother for me.
Maybe I should try out now.
You should. Yeah. You should be the voice of Pikachu.
Just picture this. He's walking down the sidewalk with his little magnifying glass. Pikachu, Pikachu, and then he finds something, and it's like, Pika-Clue.
Genius.
I don't believe this movie's ever going to come out. I don't ever believe. Because this has been in development.
The game came out, so the movie has a pretty good chance as well.
I don't know.
The film will begin production in London in January of next year. Okay. So it's probably coming.
Damn it! I feel like we've heard about this for a while. It's just that it just kind of went away for at least for almost a year, I want to say, that we didn't hear anything.
Well, it's only weird to me because like the game hasn't come here yet, but like they're making an American Detective Pikachu movie.
Interesting.
So like basically it's based on a Japanese game that we don't really know here, so we were only going to know the movie.
Maybe they'll release the game when the movie comes out.
I mean, I could see them doing like casting the Detective Pikachu voice for the movie, and then having him do the English voice acting for the game, and then release it here to coincide with the movie, maybe. But I feel like they need the game to come out first to advertise the movie, like so that people know what they're getting into when they go to the movie. If they come out at the same time, it's literally like they're going to be advertising each other, so neither one is really going. I mean, sure, it's still Pokemon, but neither one is really going to be like promoting the other. Because it's technically a new property both ways.
The Great Detective Pikachu came out in Japan on February 3rd last year. So
the movie February 3rd this year, like while the movie is in production, because they'd already have the the actor doing the voice, I assume, while they're producing it.
Mm-hmm. All right,
I can see that.
Some more Pokemon news. We got Pokemon Gen 3 coming to Pokemon Go, and a Halloween event. That's all I really know about this.
Yeah. Have fun capturing the Pokemon where everybody pretty much just dropped off the face of the earth. Seriously, I think most people our age stopped playing Pokemon around that time when those installments came out.
I mean, I never stopped, but I didn't like Gen 3 much.
Well, a lot. Well, I mean, you're the oddball, and that's great because I love that you're the oddball. But
thanks.
Most people, from my understanding, they played Gen 1. They had the euphoric high that was Gen 2. And in Gen 3, it was like, what the fuck is this? And they never came back. And then they came back for X and Y.
What was the Gen 3 stuff? Because I can't tell this stuff apart.
They had like a flame monkey.
Oh, right.
This is the one where they had like the different styles of monkeys and stuff? Yeah.
No, that's Gen 5.
Gen 3 brought in abilities. That was the big like change for that generation. It was also the first one on Game Boy Advance, so it looked better. But like the big gameplay change was the abilities. And I think double battles came in then too.
Yes,
because they were in the Pokemon State, the Pokemon Coliseum game.
But they're not gonna.
That was Gen 3.
I don't think there's any update of them updating any of the battle system stuff. But you're just basically gonna get Gen 3 Pokemon, which I think is kind of cool because I kind of want to see like how people because again you have a lot of people who grew up 1 and 2. They know the Kanto and Johto Pokemon. They have no idea what Hoenn's Pokédex is also. I kind of want to see people's Twitter reactions to like, what is this? Because like, I remember when I played Gen 4 for the first time. No, not Gen 4. Pokemon X. Because I was one of those people where like I didn't play. Last time I played Pokemon was the year 2000, and I came back like, what's this?
The black and white were so good.
But I didn't. But the point is, I didn't play. A lot of people didn't. My point is, I really want to see people's Twitter's reaction to like, what's this? What's this? There's something in the air.
No, that's the Christmas update.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, it's a Halloween movie, but
no,
it's
not. It's a Christmas movie. It's not a Halloween movie.
I want
Halloween Town.
Smells like we got ourselves
Halloween stuff in the beginning, and then a ton of Christmas stuff, and then a little bit more Halloween.
Look, it's the Nightmare Before Christmas.
The point is, you watch it twice. You watch it on.
It's got Christmas right in the title.
But it's the Nightmare Before Christmas.
It also has Halloween
It's
Town
also
right
like
in the name of the town.
the Nightmare Before Christmas happens before Christmas.
You watch it on October.
Halloween Town, though.
December 25th. You can watch twice a year. It's perfectly fine. Look, Jack Skellington would not want us to argue about this, okay?
You know what?
I think he
agree
would.
with Ben this time.
I think he would.
I'm going to put out a poll.
Yes, please do.
Whether it's a Christmas or Halloween movie.
It's both.
This is more.
Stop
this is more.
people.
Make a third option
this is more
for
important
both.
than the clown thing. This is more important than the clown thing because this is a Halloween movie. It's the Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's
Nightmare came first.
It's a more Christmas movie because you're trying to discover the joy of nature of Christmas.
When I watch Nightmare Before Christmas, I go into it thinking, yeah, this is a Halloween movie. Hell yeah. And then I come out of it going, oh, that was a Christmas movie.
It's basically a Christmas movie. The Halloween elements are pure aesthetic. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Oogie Boogie still gives me nightmares, though.
Oogie Boogie.
He's an asshole, but yeah, I guess.
He's literally made of worms or insects.
I did enjoy beating him up in Kingdom Hearts 2.
That was great.
That was satisfying.
I always watch Nightmare Before Christmas on November 1st. I have it once a year. I watch it always on November 1st, and then I can't stop singing, "What's this?" over and over again.
That's a Christmas song.
This is the best song, and that's a Christmas song.
Yeah,
but the movie is not a Christmas movie.
It's totally.
It's a Christmas movie. So. It's totally. It leans more towards Christmas. It has the spirit of Halloween, but it's effing Christmas movie. It's about the spirit of the holidays. That's what it is.
All right.
Where is the location of the first scene of the movie? The location of the first scene of the movie.
Halloween Town.
Yeah.
But it's about the spirit of Christmas and what Christmas means. And Jack Skellington has to learn. It's about Christmas.
He needs to learn to stay in his place and not fuck with Christmas.
What have I done?
Yeah, which makes it a Halloween movie.
The moral of the story
is stay out of Christmas.
Yeah, the moral of the story is stay in your freaking lane. And his lane is Halloween lane.
Right.
Halloween.
I need to watch that.
Real talk, Christmas Story, Nightmare Before Christmas is Tim Burton's best movie. Fact.
I can't argue with that.
It's better than Batman, and I love Batman.
Batman's a Christmas movie.
No, Batman Forever. Batman Returns is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
That one's a Christmas
Which one has the penguin? I forgot which one has the penguin.
Wah, wah.
Anyway, this isn't all of Gen 3. It's only the... Yeah, this is a Pokemon story, by the way. It's just the ghost, like the ghost type Pokemon from Gen 3. So there's like Crobat, Duskull, Dusclops.
Crobat is not Ghost. What?
He's on this list.
That's weird. He's not a ghost. It's poison flying.
I assume it just includes like Gen 3 evolutions.
Okay.
So he's one of the Gen 3 evolutions, but also bats are Halloween creatures.
Yeah, okay. When you said that makes sense. There's not a lot of ghost types, new ghost types in Gen 3.
But Dusclops is great. So
if you like
that.
freakish looking things.
No comment. Sableye, Banette, which is fine. Shuppet, yeah, they're okay. But
yeah, they're uninspired.
I really like Dusclops. And then a few others. Like I said, the evolutions of types. But yeah, so it's the start of Gen 3, basically. Mm-hmm. And there's also an event going on for that more spooky Pokemon in general are going to show up.
Gengar's watching you while you sleep.
And then there will also be super incubators, apparently, which hatch eggs 1.5 times more quickly, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so there was a leak of earlier in the week, I think, that had like Gen 3 data in the update notes. So people were thinking this was coming. So this is just the first step of it. But yeah, just know that's coming, and it's cool.
Look, just put...
I'll probably pull it out in Chicago, at least, because I imagine there's going to be tons of Pokestops there.
Mm-hmm.
I will play Pokemon Go again when they put Arceus, so I can say, I caught God.
I mean, there's multiple gods.
Well, technically, Arceus is the god of Pokemon, so...
I guess.
For he was there before creation began, so he is God. It is God, because it doesn't have gender.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you guys done with Pokemon?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to talk about wrestling some more? You dick.
So AJ Styles is facing Finn Balor this weekend. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yes, it will be. I'm glad I can have multiple likes. Interest.
How are you doing right now? So you guys can suck.
All right. I'll move on to something else. We'll talk about. This is kind of just depressing news, or not depressing, but thinkers. So yeah, let's talk about David Ballard and Naughty Dog. So over the past week, we had the Me Too movement happening on Twitter. It opened up my eyes personally to the sexual harassment that has gone on in a lot of people's lives, a lot of people that we actually know. That I never knew about. And so during this this movement, David Ballard, he was one of the environmental artists at Naughty Dog. He says he's been there since like 2009 to 2015 or 16. And basically he came out with his experience of sexual harassment as well on Twitter. It says here in late 2015, I was sexually harassed at Naughty Dog by a lead. My work environment became extremely toxic afterward. In February 2016, I had a mental breakdown at work, and Sony PlayStation HR became involved. When I told them about the harassment, they ended the call and fired me the next day. They cited the company was moving in a different direction, and my job was no longer needed. They tried to silence me by offering me $20,000 if I signed a letter agreeing to the termination, as well as to not discuss it with anyone. He declined to sign, and he's been unemployed for 17 months since. Then the Naughty Dog and Sony sent out a joint statement saying that harassment has no, like basically just like a standard statement saying that harassment has no place in their workforce. They don't encourage harassment. And there's also no record of the complaint because he didn't file an official complaint. So, yeah, just wanted to put that out there because
that's why everything in a company should be through email.
Yes.
Yeah.
For everyone's note.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there because I think it's important to talk about issues as well. Like I used to shy away from this kind of stuff especially earlier on when we were doing this thing. But now I kind of just want to talk about the issues. I think it's important for us to do it now. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring this up there, let everyone know. You guys have anything?
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at this topic. Callie was attacking my leg and it was really distracting.
No problem.
She's very ticklish.
Yeah, like he hasn't like said anything since then, and he hasn't talked to like media reports. He probably doesn't want to get blasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have anything to add.
There's so many ridiculous things like this going on right now, and it's sad, but it's also great that it's bringing everything to light. At least, like, it sucks that it's happening, but like you can't get away with it anymore. There's been so many examples when we talked about the Nick Robinson thing like a while back, and he's finally been like back on Twitter, but as far as I know, he's still not like in the public light or anything. He just like talks about games occasionally and like tries to pretend like it never happened. And then like the more recently, like the I'm kind of focusing on pop figures, but the Andy Signore situation with Screen Junkies, which isn't game related, but it's still worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And of course Harvey Weinstein.
Yep.
Like all this stuff, all these people are basically being fired and not in the power positions anymore because apparently they abused them. And so like this is actually an example on the other side of like he was basically silenced. Like he wasn't in a position of power, and the positions of power tried to silence him and then fired him without record, so that he had no proof of what was happening, basically. So he wouldn't be able to go public and hurt their name. And now he is, and of course people believe him because it's it's the time for that.
Yeah.
But like this is Naughty Dog we're talking about. Like this is a good company, and they were still trying to hide this stuff. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And it sucks because like you want to trust people, you want to assume the best in people, but then something like this happens with like a company that I personally love, and you can't necessarily blame the entire company,
right?
Because there's a lot of shady HR people, and they're just looking out for the interests of the company in general. They don't see the power of this single person. So they're like, this is easier just to, push under the rug and call it a day. Like, it's safer for us. We don't want drama. The fact that they offered him hush money doesn't help their public image for sure.
Yeah.
And the fact that someone had to sign off on that makes me think that it might be the higher ups at Naughty Dog that had, control over this situation. Because you can't just offer someone $20,000 without like getting the, the go ahead for it and explaining why. So this was a group discussion. This wasn't just like a, like HR saying, "Oh, we're firing you, but this is your, your
severance pay."
Yeah, thank you. Your severance pay, because he didn't accept it. This was a separate thing. So clearly this was like a, if you don't talk about this situation, we'll give you this money, and he declined it. So this goes deeper than just like one call to HR about one person with the company, and that sucks. But it's also it's something we have to realize. We have to acknowledge the fact that it's not just one or two people that were involved in this scandal.
Yeah.
So you just got to wonder how deep it goes.
And also, like, since this stuff is coming more to light, you're kind of wondering like what else goes on, like what else in other companies like that you don't hear about ever.
Yeah.
This is something to think about. I don't know. It's yeah.
I think if anything, from the perspective of somebody who's under employ from a company like this or any company really, if you're ever in any kind of a situation where it doesn't seem right, or it's just any kind of situation that you feel like could possibly lead to something negative or something toxic, or even if you feel like it could lead to like future harassment or anything like that, because that's a lot of the time that's how these things start. They just start with like comment here, comment there, and then someone's nervously laugh it off, but then that just tells the other person that kind of thing's okay. So as soon as you kind of feel like something's up, or if you see like a red flag, you need to tell somebody and get that on record, because if you don't, then it's only going to work against you. And then the longer you don't say anything, the worse off it's going to be for you, because then it comes in the whole thing. Well, why didn't you say anything before? But obviously, because people don't want to lose their jobs over stuff like this, because some people think it's easier to just stay quiet over it. It's not. Staying quiet over it is gonna make your life more difficult. Not only is it gonna make your life more difficult in the sense that you're gonna end up in a situation potentially that you don't want to be in, but also just from kind of a mental aspect. Like, I mean, if you're constantly being put in like uncomfortable situations every day in your place of work, then it gets to the point eventually where you just don't want to go to work. So yeah. Anyways, long story short, just if you think something's weird, tell somebody.
Yeah. Like this, I don't want to, demean this story or anything, but I feel like, it's good to kind of share like my kind of connection to this. It's not like a sexual harassment at work story or anything like that, but at an old job, which I guess I can put on blast. It was technically for Samsung. I was working inside of a store, and we got a new boss in the store that was kind of was trying to suck up to the higher up management, while also throwing the end of the bus for anything that went wrong, whether it was his fault or no one's fault or whatever the case was. And it got to the point where I loved this job, but I hated working under him. And I would always come in, do most of the work for him, basically he just took credit for everything that I did. And eventually I think he might have felt threatened or something, and basically told the HR for the company we worked for, which was not Samsung, it was a third party working for that I had refused to help a customer in order to get me in trouble. And so instead of properly investigating it and getting all sides of the story and everything, they called me up and said that I was essentially suspended from the position, that they wouldn't need me anymore. And so I had no say in it. It was just a quick call from HR saying, you're done. This is what he told us, we're going to believe it. That's all it takes sometimes. And again, I'm not trying to say that these are comparable in any way, but I'm just trying to say that I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any control just as an associate for a company. You could do nothing wrong, but because you try, you try to just kind of stay quiet and not do anything wrong to incriminate yourself, someone with more power than you is going to take charge of that and get what they want another way.
Exactly.
So in this case, the person tried to talk to HR, and they just fired him because they didn't want to get that person in trouble, because they were either probably a more public figure and they didn't want the news getting out, or maybe they were just a higher up person that was more valuable to the company, whatever the case was. In this case, it was the word of a boss against the word of his associate, and of anything different. So they believed the boss. It sucks to be in that position, regardless of what happens. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be in, a sexual harassment situation specifically. But to lose all of that power and just be told, we don't care what your side of things is, you're gone, is not great, and it needs to be stopped. There needs to be a shift in the balance of power, so that you can't have those one-sided decisions like that.
Right.
But also, there's always going to be those people that abuse that. They'll make up lies and say get their boss fired if they don't like who they're working for or something like that. Which is why I never said anything, because I didn't want to get him fired. I don't know what happened in this case, why he was quiet for so long. It could have just been a self-esteem issue, or a fear of repercussions, what happened.
Yeah,
I can just talk about my case.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally understandable.
Yeah, but in that case, I didn't want to get him in trouble. He was new to the boss position. I was trying to help him, learn things, and I think he was intimidated by that. And so he learned all he needed to know, and then got me out of there before I could threaten his power or whatever the case was. So there needs to be, I don't know if it's some kind of board or a better moderation period or something like that, but I think HR has too much power. It's going back to that Andy Signore situation again. Like, there were multiple people that made cases against him to HR, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we will moderate the situation, and we'll get back to you." And months would go by with nothing happening.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until it went public, like on Twitter, and it's like people, calling him out specifically, that they had to kind of confront HR again. And they're like, "Oh, we've had multiple people create cases against him. We're working on it. It's an ongoing investigation, basically, to try and cover their backs." But some of these cases had been years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Harvey Weinstein situation, it was decades in the making.
Yep.
But he was a production company head. Like, he created this company that made huge movies so he could get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how do these things keep happening? How are these people getting away with this crap? I don't understand it. Just because they have money and can silence people?
Because they have money and influence. Yep.
And
like, where's the integrity there?
They're monsters.
Yeah.
Like, literally,
somehow.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be very candid about this. If you're protecting somebody who, if somebody in your company, all right, has come to you saying that there's been sexual harassment and there's, and it's a repeated claim, and you're not doing anything about it to get rid of the person who is doing the harassing, you're a fucking monster.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Harvey Weinstein, but everybody around him and everybody who in Naughty Dog, whoever protected this person, you're a fucking monster. You should all lose your jobs because you have basically almost destroyed this man's life and the countless of other women who have probably had nightmares about stuff like this because you decided that you needed to abuse your power because you couldn't act like a normal human being because unfortunately the idiom power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You just had to go there. Like I'm sorry, these people are not people to me, and that's the only way. Maybe that's the only way I can rationalize it. But they're fucking monsters. These are horrible people, and it kills me. Like, I don't know what happens because this isn't something that happens overnight when you get power. This isn't something like if I were to get $1 million and become a movie studio executive or start my game studio, I'm not going to start harassing people because I've never done that before. This is something this is something that's, God forgive me for going here, but like it's imbued in certain aspects of our culture, at least in America. I can't speak for Canadian because I'm not Canadian.
A lot of our culture is your culture. So
okay, I just don't want to speak like falsely or anything, but a lot of that toxicity and it's specifically male driven, that overbearing, that control freak mentality, that I need to have every facet of my life be under my thumb, comes from culture. It doesn't just start when you have money. It's always been there. It's just it's just for some people, some of these monsters, it allows them to abuse it more because they have the money to say, here's $100,000. Now don't talk about this ever again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you this movie if you do this for me. And I'm glad these people are speaking up. I'm glad all these people are speaking up because it's so difficult. Like, you can say, well, you should just tell them. Like, no, because you gotta deal with the fact that, again, like you said, or you can do your jobs, you can do all these ramifications that are probably going to happen to you. You're going to take the fall, and that person, whoever's reporting, is going to take the fall first, not the person who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and honestly, I hope this doesn't continue to happen, for one. But I hope that all of these public stories are going to scare everyone straight.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen anymore because they're like, oh crap, I can't get away with it anymore. Like, not in this era of, everything is public. Because for one, right now it's under heavy scrutiny in the media. So anytime that's happening, everyone has to be really careful. But I hope this isn't one of those things like gun control that just dies down after a few weeks and everyone goes back to normal.
Until
it needs to stay public. People need to know that they can speak up now.
Yeah,
especially we're in a society where everything is recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
That thing.
That's what I said. Everything should be emails. Remember that everything needs to be emails. Correspondence always emails.
Yeah, emails, text messages.
No matter how small you think it may be.
Yeah,
get it in writing.
if someone does call you, be like, can you follow up through email? So the initial correspondence is a call, but then the further correspondence is email, so that you have that backup record. Because if something is kind of shady in the call, it's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll know, for one, that emails can be tracked, so they might be more careful about that. And they'll be like, "Can I call you?" Like, "No, I don't have time. Send an email." Like that could stop it right there.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, at least you have a record.
Yeah. All right. Just gonna move on to our last news story.
Got deep.
Yeah, we're gonna get deep. This is another deep one.
Yeah.
IGN has purchased Humble Bundle.
I mean, they did. Like, there's no question mark. They did.
Yeah, I don't know what that question mark was.
Well, I mean, okay, so like, instead of phrasing it as IGN buys Humble Bundle, they should have named it as like J2 or whatever the holding company or the parent company was.
Yeah, but
IGN Entertainment is technically the parent company.
Are they really? Because I
Okay,
was told it was like J2. So
I was gonna say, if that was the case, then because IGN buying Humble Bundle sounds like the sexier headline.
yeah,
Right. IGN is a recognizable name.
yeah, I think it's J2.
But also, like,
Global.
the actual, like, I think there's multiple things under the IGN umbrella, but IGN Entertainment is the parent company that purchased Humble Bundle.
Okay.
But
Right.
they also just happen to be in the same label as, IGN, the website, and, other things. But IGN isn't the same thing they once were, which is just a news journalism site. Now they have, the IGN show on Disney and other endeavors. Yeah, there's a show, like a daily news update show on Disney every night.
What the fuck?
News to me.
Right, they're not just a games journalist site anymore.
That's true. There is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Go ahead and do your thing, but I have opinions on this. Devil's advocate again.
Well, I mean, like that's just like the new like that's the news drop is that IGN purchased Humble Bundle. This isn't the first time something like this has like really happened. We have Game Informer with GameStop. Sorry, we have EB Games, so I confused GameStop.
EB Games. I still call it EB.
Yeah, so like we have EB Games, or see, there we go. GameStop with Game Informer, and then also GameStop like started to publish games. They haven't really done it recently, but the last one was Song of the Deep. So we have a game. I still see IGN as a game journalist website or like an entertainment website, entertainment news site, mixed up with a charity / storefront to sell games. And they also do they also publish games like the Hat in Time. They published Hat in Time. So there's like a whole mix up here. Does anyone want to start with their opinions before Justin comes in and destroys everybody?
You're all stupid. I hate this.
I'm very skeptical of it because, again, it is a company that, while it doesn't just do video games, does review video games. And I think there's a gray line. I'm not going to be like my normal self where I'm just going to be like all one way or the other. I'm more of a let's wait and see. They obviously have to put a disclaimer that anytime they promote Humble Bundle, or if Humble Bundle puts in another game and they review it, they always have to put that there. Because IGN isn't evil. I just think IGN is not evil. I'm trying to get a job at IGN. So like, they're not evil. They're a lot of people still go there for their entertainment. I just think they need to be very careful on how they go forward with advertising. And that's what I honestly think. If they're clear, and like I think they did it with the Hat in Time now, that there's a disclaimer now.
Yeah, they put a disclosure there.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as they do that, and as long as it's fully disclosed and all the shenanigans are fully taken care of, I'm cool with it. Because if this means, because I love Humble Bundle. Humble Bundles are great.
Oh, yeah.
And if it means a bigger company allows them to keep doing what they're doing, I don't know how Humble Bundle works. They may have been doing fine, but obviously you know, maybe they needed a
They've
company.
grown a lot. So.
Yeah. So I don't know how business works. I'm not a businessman, but I'm more leaning towards good than outright, well, this is bad for Humble Bundle, this is bad for consumers. I'm at the wait and see stage, which is not nowhere for me, and it's scaring me.
Okay. That's more positive about
Lo, what's your opinion on this?
Well, when I first read that headline, I was like, oh no, IGN, oh, big evil company. Just for the main purpose of, well, my main concern was that we would start seeing games and Humble Bundles that aren't necessarily like great games. Like I was thinking, the first thing that I thought was like IGN top picks bundle, boom, there it is, and it's just like all these games that, you know, they thought were good at IGN, but you know, it's, I don't know. So then there was all that, but then I thought about it a little bit more, and you know, I think it could be fine as long as they are very clear with their with their messaging and their marketing and stuff like that. But you know, this is the gaming industry, so you know, clear marketing, I don't know what is that even. But yeah, I'm more or less with Ben on this one. Just wait and see. I've always been kind of like a wait and see, but you know, it's I couldn't help but, you know, I couldn't help but worry just a little bit when I saw the headline. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we just gotta wait and see. If I see some kind of freaking like IGN like bundle on Humble Bundle though, like that, then that'll be a sign. But yeah, I mean, just especially that's another thing, because Humble Bundle is they do all the charity type stuff. So like they can't really afford to do anything like shady involving any of this kind of thing. So yeah, we'll just have to see.
Okay. Yeah, so my initial reaction was like, oh shit, here goes integrity and video game reporting. You guys know how important that is to me. I just like things being open and honest about what they do, you know, in reporting in gaming. Like there's been so many shady things involving reporting in gaming in the last 10 years or so. Like, so anyways, essentially, like after the initial shock value of it, I was thinking about it, and essentially I don't know if this is going to really infect IGN editorial wise, regarding like trying to pimp out Humble Bundle and buying stuff there. Because essentially, like, we had that Hat in Time review that came out. They put that disclosure there. They probably didn't know about that deal going down initially anyways. They said so much in their disclosure. I don't think this will creep into editorial. They said that their offices are going to be in different locations, so the Humble guys can't just drop on by and go, hey guys, what's up?
And that whenever possible, they'd seek independent reviewers for games that are published by Humble Bundle if they review them.
Yep.
Nice.
So I think there's a way you can do this. There's already precedent for it. Like I said about EB Games and Game Informer. I saw a lot of people not talk about the integrity of video game reporting and talk about how shitty the bundles are going to be now, which is kind of concerning. I guess no one really cares. Other than the product.
And also, I don't really know what that's based on.
Yeah. Like I don't see how that's even a possibility. Like there's a lot of games in these bundles that I've bought and have been absolute shit. So like that's already happening. It's like way before.
They pepper them in with the good ones to make it better value.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So ultimately, I don't think this is going to infect a lot of crossover of like editorial teams collaborating with Humble teams, collaborating with advertisers, all just like scheming behind people's backs, because IGN's more than that. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Surprisingly, like after my initial like reaction was like, fuck this, like fuck everything.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed. I thought I was going to have to rip all of you apart.
No, it's just, you know, when you're in the moment, like you get so pissed off and then like you kind of relax.
I think that's what a lot of this is. Like, I have a few points to make as always, but one of the things I'm seeing on here is like this is a Tumblr post where they put this on their blog basically, and it's a lot of people like reblogging it or commenting saying like, well, guess I have to boycott Humble Bundle now, or like, I trusted Humble Bundle before they sold themselves out to this terrible company, and you know, blah blah blah. Like, I can't support them now, and that sucks. Like, if you're listening to this right now and you're one of those people, stop it. Here's a newspaper. I'm gonna smack you on the nose. Stop it. This is charity, people. Like, you're going to boycott charity because they were bought by a different company that you don't trust. That makes you the problem. Like, I love our listeners and everything, but that's a problem. Because it's still charity. Who cares who the parent company is? They're not getting that money. It's charity money.
And also with Humble, the great thing about Humble is that you can switch up the sliders to see which one you want, like to go which charity or to go to Humble. Like, exactly. You can decide where your money goes. That's what's great about Humble.
Right. And another point, just I wanted to make that quick, but just like a quick, you know, don't do that thing. But another thing is a lot of companies are owned by other bigger companies. You probably don't even realize it. Yeah. Like, you might hate one thing, but love another thing that happens to be owned by the thing you hate. That's happening constantly.
Yeah. Like, for example, with this, like J2 Global, they own IGN, but they also own like Geek and like PC or PC Gamer, or I think it's PC Gamer, Extreme Tech. Like, if you hate one of those things, like, but you love Geek, like, what the hell? Right.
Like, I think we've talked about before on Charged Up, like all the different, you know, phone companies and stuff and what they own. Like, Google bought like HTC, and so like a lot of the Google phones, like the Google Pixel phone, is made by HTC/LG for different parts. The iPhone, like the screen is made by LG, and like the processor or something like that is made by Samsung. Like, it's an Apple phone. So you can say like, oh, I only like Apple because I hate all those other companies and their scummy business practices. Like, you got Samsung and LG parts in your phone, bro. You can hate parts of that phone if you want, but they're still in there. You're still supporting that company by buying your product. Like, very few things are one company made.
That's true.
So Humble Bundle being bought by IGN, sure, there could be some ethical concerns there. And I'll get to that in a second. But just being bought by them is not a bad thing. It just gives them more outreach. It means they have a bigger company behind them to support them and put out. So I just realized the blog is called The Humble Mumble, and that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty
good. Anyway, I lost my train of thought because that was so funny. But yeah, like it gives them more outreach. Like I said, they can talk about the new Humble Bundle on the IGN show. Again, there could be ethical concerns there, but if they're just saying, you know, there's a new Humble Bundle, like this is sponsored by Humble Bundle, there's nothing wrong with that. It's getting out the word about, you know, this new thing. If they have no actual control over the bundles and they just give them outreach because it, you know, kind of inevitably supports them too, as a stockholder in the company, they don't have to like go out of their way to taint Humble Bundle. They make money off of it no matter what. Like, Humble Bundle success is IGN success and vice versa. You don't have to change things to have that success. They're both successful companies in themselves, or else IGN wouldn't have bought them.
True.
So even if things do change, we can't predict that. You can't automatically assume just because you think IGN is scum, which, again, I don't think we really know. There's plenty of former IGN and currently IGN people that like love what they do, and I don't think it's fair to them. You know, again, it comes down to that Naughty Dog thing. Like, we don't know how much of the company is involved in like shady business practices. Like, it's not fair to condemn the entire company because of what maybe a few people might have done in the past.
Yeah, and there's a few people there who are like credible. Like, apparently, like Dan Stapleton's like a credible like reviews editor.
Yeah,
and
Pear, who's like the leader of IGN right now, is like a super cool dude.
And I've been following Ryan McCaffrey for a while. Like, I know he's pretty cool about it.
Exactly. Like, in the future, this could be an issue, but people are freaking out about this acquisition, and they're not going to support Humble Bundle anymore because of that. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's so short-sighted and unfair to Humble Bundle.
Yeah, that is dumb.
But on the side of IGN being, final point, I'll try to be brief. On the side of IGN being, a games journalist company and the integrity of owning a games publisher, aside from the point that, again, they are technically entirely separate, like you mentioned, and that it's not unprecedented, which really should negate this whole argument itself. It's also not entirely unusual for, unbiased reviews to come from seemingly biased sources. Like, it's a minor example, but look at Nintendo Power. That went for years with, reviewing like first and third party Nintendo titles as a official Nintendo licensed magazine. It wasn't Nintendo made; it was a different company working for Nintendo. So they could be unbiased in their reviews, but they would be first party Nintendo games that they were promoting like crazy, would be on the cover and would get like a 6.5 or something in the review. Mm-hmm. And that went on for years. There's dozens of probably hundreds of examples of like games that were heavily promoted by Nintendo that just scored okay in their own magazine. And if that can happen, why can't it happen with IGN? Especially if they take the efforts to, bring in their own, like a different, not IGN paid reviewers, and don't have their editors just do like regular copy edits instead of like, changing the scores or whatever. Because that's been an issue, not with IGN. Like that's been an issue with other companies. They get reviews bought out, and people say that IGN does it. They don't. It's usually smaller publications that need the money because print is dying. They buy good reviews and then they change a bad review if someone writes it and whatever the case. But that doesn't necessarily happen in the first place, and it definitely doesn't happen with IGN because they are under heavy scrutiny as a major company, like we've mentioned, and they would get castrated if they tried to do that.
Yeah.
So if they put these disclaimers and they bring in different reviewers to do these reviews, or just don't review them at all,
hire
Ben.
Yeah,
sure, hire Ben. Everyone out there at IGN that's listening right now, and you can thank us on Twitter about how nice we're being to you, which no one else did. So respect. Oh, those IGN shills.
Would you guys boycott us if IGN bought us out?
I would.
That's a question. I mean, I wouldn't. Obviously, I'd still be doing the show.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying that because
they have enough podcasts right now.
Yeah, we live in a because of social media. We live in a knee-jerk social media society.
True. Very true.
And as soon as you hear something, granted, I'm not gonna lie. I'm part of that problem sometimes. I won't lie, but sometimes, like with this case, I'm like, well, okay, let's see. Versus, IGN's evil. IGN is obviously doing something shady when we have had no history of evidence of IGN like actually doing anything shady. Just because you don't like a game review doesn't mean they're shady.
Right.
So
yeah. Oh, they must have been paid because they liked this game that I didn't. No, that just means they have different opinions.
Yeah.
Don't get your bias in the way.
Dead Space 3 is a good game.
Yeah, Dead Space 3 is a good game. The thing people don't really realize is that it's not, whenever it says IGN gave this game a score, they're not seeing the actual person who gave the game a score. They're just seeing the
IGN, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because IGN they do hire freelance writers and reviewers and stuff too. So there's that's another thing. That's one thing that I totally didn't think about when I saw the headline. I was like, oh god, IGN, and then it's like, wait a minute, no, they do this and this and that. So
there's actual people there.
For all we know, in a few years, IGN could be making movies. They could be publishing their own games. Who knows?
Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah.
You can't survive on just an entertainment site anymore. Like,
it's about
games journalism is not what it used to be. You have to have, something outside of that.
Yeah.
That's we're focusing on podcasts, for example. Like, that's a huge medium right now. IGN's kind of in that. Their podcasts are hit or miss sometimes. But they're branching out into these new things. The IGN show has been pretty successful on Disney. They've done the yearly April Fools little short film type stuff, and those are actually really good. I could see them moving into that field.
Mm-hmm.
Buying Humble Bundle, I think, is a huge move towards kind of branching out their portfolio of things, because again, as Humble Bundle succeeds, IGN succeeds, which apparently is enough for some people to want to not buy from Humble Bundle anymore. Again, that's short-sighted.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they're still not going to buy or not. They might say that, but they might just.
They have some pretty fresh deals. Not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know because everyone loves saving money.
I do want to say that there has been like issues in the past between advertisers of games and the outlets, like most famously Jeff Gerstmann, when like between him and Kana Lynch, that whole thing that went down, and then he essentially I can't remember if he got fired or he left. I think he got fired from GameSpot.
I'm pretty sure he got fired.
Yeah, and so like he left and like he didn't know what the hell he was going to do, but he ended up starting a Giant Bomb, which is like huge now.
Yeah. And people still give him shit for his review scores.
You know, he's Jeff. Yeah. He's a little bit harder on stuff. I'm a little bit harder on stuff. But, yeah.
The point is, you know, not everything is evil. There are actual evil things in the world. This isn't evil. Don't make the mistake. If IGN does do something shady with this and it comes revealed, I hope we'll be one of the first people to call them out on their shit.
Oh yeah,
but you know, for now, like
opinions change as new information comes out. I'm just saying, basically, to for one, think critically about things before taking them at face value and just like berating them, and also don't let your personal biases of something get in the way of what could potentially be a good thing for them. Maybe they're trying to change their image of what's apparently been bad before. I don't know why IGN has such a bad rap.
Because they're popular. That's why.
Probably.
Yeah. Also, IGN bundle. That might be a good thing. It's like highest rated IGN games in this bundle. I don't know.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, if it's just one bundle with others, it's like, what's wrong with that? They've done it before. They've had like Nintendo bundles, like
the Capcom just did one a couple months ago.
Yeah, specifically like one licensed thing because they probably get a kickback from that by offering all of them together. They just had their Resident Evil one, I think.
They've had like highly acclaimed game bundles or like highly positive game bundles. If that's just like IGN like highly scored bundles, and like, what's the difference?
Right.
They're just using the name.
The difference is IGN for a lot of people, unfortunately.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh well.
IGN could change their name tomorrow and not change anything else, and a majority of the people wouldn't know, and they'd be like, "Oh, what's this new awesome site called
Game Fact?
Turntable?" I don't know.
I was gonna say Ninjin.
Engine?
Game engine.
Exactly. Ooh, hold on. I'm stealing that.
Because like, I know we're going long, but like the sci-fi, I won't be here next week. I got to get stuff in.
Yep.
That's what she said.
Shut up. Gross. Also, the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Like they've rebranded a few times now, and like, they've said it's because they want to shift their focus into other areas. But like sci-fi wasn't doing well, and now like it's SYFY, and then they like changed the actual like font of the logo and everything later. They kept the name the same, and like now they're doing really well with like their niche stuff. But a lot of people don't think of that as the same like Sci-Fi Network that was out 10 years ago or whatever. So like sometimes a name and a brand can mean way more than the stuff they actually are known for, and that sucks when it's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, apparently, I didn't know the Jeff Gerstmann thing, but I guess everyone hated him at GameSpot, and like now he's like a Giant Bomb. He's like amazing.
No, well, the whole thing was that essentially, like, can't remember the story off the top of my head, but essentially there was a whole dispute between the Kane and Lynch, the publishers. They were basically trying to pay off GameSpot for a good review. And he decided no. Like this game was like a 6 or a 7. I can't remember what he gave it.
Which isn't even bad.
No.
And yeah, like basically they fired him over it.
I think there's a whole thing with like Metacritic where it's like if you have under an 80, like you don't get money. Like you don't get as much money
some publishers do offer like incentives and bonuses, yeah.
Yeah, and so they try to keep it that like 8.0 threshold or so to get them above that 80.
Yeah. To
get the kickbacks.
All right. I think that's going to be a show, guys. Are you going to miss everything, everybody? Are you going to miss everybody, Justin?
I'm going to be on my bachelor party. Screw you guys.
Yeah, what are you talking about? He's going to go party, man.
He's going to get wasted.
I'll send pictures. But I'll be back the following week. We're going to have our own little bachelor party on the show. It'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
Yay.
We'll have a few guest stars.
Yeah.
Just
Shot
have a good old
Sausage
time.
Fest Part 2.
Probably after Dark Part 2. Zelvia wanted to actually hop on for once.
I'll take some
yeah.
shots in
Yeah.
the sake of the name.
We'll
We
drink
need to-
extra
we
because
need-
Ben probably won't.
We need shot glasses. We need charged shot glasses.
I have
We
one
do,
on my
we
desk
do.
at all times. Oh yeah, we do need shot glasses.
I want the
Yeah.
one with the little fireball. Yeah. Mm.
All right. Yeah. Plug your crap.
Oh, me?
Yeah, I'm still in your
You
line.
took my thing. I am at Zero Score on all the places, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, VidMe. I'm going to try to start using that again. I've said before, Final Fantasy VI is coming to an end, and then I just put out a vlog about like what's going to be happening the next few months. In the meantime, between Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IX, so check that out to get all the updates. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it's exciting times to come. And like I said, I won't be on here for a few weeks to come. Next week, and then I will be on the next week after that, and then I'll be off for like 2 weeks while I celebrate Holy Matrimony.
Yay.
So yeah, have fun without me. We'll party it up in a few weeks.
Cool. Lo, where can the people find you?
You can find me most of the time on Twitter at Nero the Hero, N3R0, THEH3R0. You can also find me on YouTube, Nero the Hero, all with letters. I am going to be uploading a video soon. It's just kind of just me just talking about things I don't like. And the subject's coming up is, yeah, it's bad and annoying YouTube practices. Just stupid things that people with YouTube channels do that bugs
It's
me.
your boy Thomas here with a new unboxing.
Hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy. That's not on there, actually. That was
Hey
too
guys,
easy.
I have here's an updated video about the video I promise is actually coming out.
Hey guys, here's a video about my Patreon account. I just opened a Patreon. You could give me money. Click on the link. Give me money.
Hey guys, I just wanted to put out an update saying that the update vlog is coming tomorrow. So be here for that. I'll put out another update to remind you guys about that update. But for right now, here's the update to that update before the update.
Here's a pre-post mid update.
Yeah. What is this, a Square Enix conference?
Oh, brilliant.
Hopefully we gave you some new ideas for that video.
Yes, I have. You guys, I just got a whole list of new ideas. For
By the way, speaking of that, you guys are probably going to love the second part of my DS list. I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. And Ben, where can the people find the Self-Proclaimed Marvelous One?
You can find everything pertaining to the Self-Proclaimed Marvelous One at twitter.com/marvelousiggy. And actually return to streaming. It was only one day this week, but I did stream this week, so you can go catch the on-demand. It's still on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/iggy2814. I just haven't transferred it over to my actual YouTube channel. But hey, I completed Sonic Mania on stream. It's all that freaking matters. Oh no, okay, I didn't complete it on stream, but I got all 7 Chaos Emeralds on stream, which is like, and I did it without doing it multiple times. So like, I did it all in one streak. So that was cool. Let's see. Yeah. Also, go to my YouTube channel. Again, just click in my Twitter handle, whatever. I actually did finally finish Freedom Planet. It's up. All the parts are out. It's done. I'm finally done. I thought I actually had 2 more parts or 3 more parts uploaded. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 6 so I can upload this part. No, it's just one part. It took 20 minutes to upload, so that was nice. Again, no YouTube stuff probably for me for the rest of the year unless it's like on-demand stuff. But I'll probably be back in January with a long. That's probably going to take me almost a whole year to do, if indicating how long the game is. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, as I like to say a lot.
You've never said that.
I say it a lot outside of the show. Okay, I have IRL.
We'll suplex that bridge when we get to it.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
And you can find me, your host Thomas, at CSG Thomas on Twitter. You can find us all here at charshot.com. Watch all the videos, all the podcasts that we have, everything there. You can also email me, thomas@charshot.com. I started doing a little bit more streaming on my own personal Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Thomas Reese. I started doing that stuff there so that I like to keep Charge Shot to have like actual shows and like stuff that we work around, and like my bullshit streaming stuff is just over there on my own channel. So if you just want to see me sit there like a lump, we're good to go.
The great advertisement.
Until then, guys, enjoy your games.
Bye-bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
Woo, 2 weeks.
Shot after dark.
Yeah.
So, Ben, I randomly realized something at work today, and I'm not even sure why. Did you want to have that was it a car selfie added to the site for your profile?
Oh, the train selfie?
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I guess.
You said you didn't have a picture to submit, and that's why. So I figured if you had one, that it should probably be added.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, I got rid of the images because it was fucking up on the site, like the.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because like it just didn't display well. You know what I mean?
Really? I didn't notice that at first. I hadn't looked at it in a while.
I haven't. Yeah, it was all over the place. I could.
Was it when you moved the site hosting?
I don't think so. No, like I kind of got rid of it a while back.
Oh.
I could try again.
I just hadn't looked at like our part, like the people, because I know who we are.
Yeah.
Except for me. Well, I mean, now you do, but
I can see if I can put the images back up. It's just
we could have all gone to a con together and like, where's Ben? I just hide around like, I don't see him over here.
I mean, make it sadder because we didn't get to hang out with Ben.
I know. I have a bad habit of doing that.
What, avoiding people that you like?
Well, just drifting away. Like I'll be distracted in something and walk away, and like, where the fuck did everybody go?
Oh,
I guess I'm by myself now. And I'll just meander.
I saw someone who did that while they're on a Chernobyl walk along. They got
wait, why would
on
you-
their group,
Oh god,
Oh, no.
that doesn't seem like a good idea at all.
and
What a
because like
place to be
Chernobyl has like
absent-minded.
just random pockets of radiation that's like filled.
Yeah.
Question: why would you go to Chernobyl anyways?
Because it's so cool. It's an
Oh.
abandoned city. How cool
So
is
you can
that?
take a selfie with the mutant. That's why. That's why you go to Chernobyl.
If I want to do that, I can just take out my cardboard cup of Hugh Jackman to do it that way.
I would actually like to go to Chernobyl. I think it would be super cool.
When you fight mutants.
I'd become a mutant.
I forgot to update on the Nightmare Before Christmas poll before we ended.
It seems like
Are we?
it seems like Halloween's winning. which
It's
is
getting
sad.
closer.
You mean that Halloween
Yeah.
movie? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Halloween movie, but it's getting closer.
They're wrong. It's Christmas.
Except for the people that keep freaking saying both.
Yeah, everyone responding says both.
You should
I
have.
thought about putting both, but then I figured no one would pick Halloween or Christmas, and that's the point. Of course, it's
You're not. I don't want people straddling the fence. We need some decisive action.
right.
No, stop.
No straddling.
No straddling allowed.
It's not very
I just
comfortable to
put
straddle
it.
the fence.
Stay in your fucking lane, Jack.
Yeah, that's good.
That was pretty good.
Yes.
That was a good show, honestly. Like I feel happy that that's what we have for my next 2 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really good show.
I can't control the quality next week, so
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get someone on.
Yeah, I wish I could be here. But
Although
my
it could just
chest-
be another classic, me and Lo. We've got like maybe 2 or 3 of those.
yeah. I mean, they're good
Good
shows. It's just it's kind of nice to have more voices.
It's
That's
just
like
it's just a lot shorter. It's like usually like an hour.
right.
Christmas is gaining. It's only 10%
I know.
down. Yeah, people who are right.
Like that's why I was trying to I was waiting for Metal Blade to be free during times because I wanted a third person for Charged Up. Because I think it's nice to have another voice.
Yeah.
Like when you just have 2 people in a podcast, it can be kind of hard to have like good conversations.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Just
see
like
how it is.
just a back and forth. No, I mean like we have.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine.
No,
I get it.
Justin and Ben is like the classic. That's like Milk and Cookies and PB.
Right,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's good conversation. I'm saying like over time, like you don't have that that third, like that third opinion unless you can have a guest regularly. But then it's still inconsistent.
The third wheel.
So it ends up just being the same back and